welcome to day 2 of the MGNA versus EU Showdown. I am here with my fellow co-host and brother Stento, the founder of Main Gaming, and I am your other co-host Blitz5. We are back in Europe here. Again, we don't have these actually separated into groups. We'll update this content here for you guys, but these are the full 17 teams that we have participating in this event throughout the month of June. In the beginning here, we're having the regular season, and then we'll be moving into the playoffs and then also into the finals. So for that, we have $1,000 in prizes separated between NA and EU. So these teams will be fighting for the top 4 spots, and then the top teams will also be battling it out against NA in the end in the final 16 teams. And then once we reach the finals, we will be awarding a $4,000 prize pool to the top 5 teams. Amazing prize pool. Big shout out to Main Gaming, everyone behind the scenes getting this set up for this amazing event. And then as always, we have our daily map rotation throughout the month of June. We are playing 5 maps today, just like we did yesterday. First 2 on Erangel, then to the dusty desert of Miramar, and then finishing off with one more classic of Erangel. And then here we'll switch over so we can say hello to you guys, chat a little bit about yesterday's games. What's up, everybody? Really nice to see y'all. We are on a 10-minute delay to ensure that everything's great. And I feel like we got a lot of good feedback from that yesterday. I enjoyed it. It's a little tough from the production standpoint, but you know that if someone's hiding in a weird spot, there's not going to be a way that people find out that happens. And we saw that yesterday with, I think, K7, I think it was in the NA games, was hiding in a truck in Power Grid for like the entirety of the match. Circle ended there. They ended up coming in second, but that was in an NA. But in any case, let's welcome everybody in and chat a little bit about yesterday and anything else you want to say, Stento.
No, just like you mentioned, I think now is a great time to take a look at the scoreboard so we can get a little bit of a gist of what happened yesterday in the EU section here, Blitz.
Yeah, great
time.
If
you guys do take a look at your screen here, Kinetic 7, I believe they took the last game of the day yesterday with a strong finish there to jump them up into first place with 56 points. Kinetic 1, a team I wasn't personally familiar with, but got familiar with really quickly, Blitz, in yesterday's event, 49 points. And they definitely had a chicken dinner in there as well. Winner's Circle, definitely one of the more veteran teams at 42, along with Torch and Code Red Gaming at 39 and 37 respectively. But what we need to keep an eye on here is the top 8, all the way down to Nitrous Esports here with 28 points is what we're going to keep an eye on throughout the course of this league. We've got 3 weeks, and these top 8 teams are going to make it into the finals here. So again, a very interesting day 1 event here as we watched 5 different teams take home a winner chicken dinner. Kinetic 7 kicked out, Kinetic 1, Code Red Gaming, and Torch all took a little piece of the chicken last night. But Blitz, we're excited to be here once more, but we are dropping in on our first map of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to get you over to that plane path. What's it looking like, Blitz?
Yeah, perfect intro there. Well done, Stento. We got Milta Power all the way over to Zarky, which I always say is kind of like a meme drop, at least with a lot of people I know in the casual community, right? Going there and then maybe getting a military base circle, which would be pretty rare with this plane path, because as always, we mention this all the time, but it's just fun to talk about that the plane path, the circle has to touch the plane path. So if people are really on top of that, they could kind of alter their drop, because it's most likely going to be on the center island here on the main island. Something that I feel like some teams don't always take into consideration. And we'll see if any teams kind of change up their drops from yesterday here, as most people dropping center. Yesterday, we didn't see a lot of hot drops or people dropping on each other. So we'll see if any spots get contested today, Stento.
Yeah, that's an absolute great point. And as you mentioned, this is a kind of a northern plane path, so a lot of the map is going to be somewhat untouchable here, mainly that Primorsk corner down there. But it looks like we got a pretty decent split amongst the teams here. We'll keep our eyes peeled for a hot drop, perhaps TXC and RMV heading up to the same area of Severny. A couple other places I've got my eye on here. NES seem to be kind of close to the Toxic EU squad that hanging out on Snake. Looks like Code Red Gaming going to take Pachinki on these drops here. So a lot to keep an eye on here as we have a hotly contested leaderboard, as we just kind of went over, Blitz.
Yeah, I see that one member of NES is outside of Pachinki grabbing the motorcycle, quickly heading out. Code Red Gaming did take Pachinki, as you mentioned. kind of just checking out some of the drop spots for right now for everybody.
Just like that, first circle has popped. Heading way to the east side over there. A lot of water in play blitz. It looks like we're kind of picking up right where we left off with some of these crazy circles and the shifts.
Yeah, we saw a lot of circles yesterday in NA and EU kind of go down to the Milta area. This one looks like it's going to be more of Lipovka, but you never know. Could go down south. This is a great circle, but it has some traps, right? You have the prison trap. If the circle goes there, that becomes absolutely chaotic. It could go down to Lumberyard. If it ends on the north side here, the North Shore, there's not a lot of cover as well. Those Lipovka finishes get crazy on top of that. So definitely a lot of potential for disaster. And there's not as many compounds on the northeast side of the map as opposed to the center area or even on the west side, I feel like.
Yeah, some great points. I just want to point out a couple of the teams who are in some decent spots here. It looks like Kicked Out. One of the teams that are kind of a new squad for me. I'm not obviously as familiar with EU as I am with NA, but I was very impressed with this Kicked Out squad yesterday. They found themselves in some very good end games, and I believe were the winner of one of the Miramar matches in some impressive fashion. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on that KO squad. We know winner circles in that top 3 as well. They've got a lot of area hanging out in the prison area. And ZES have got a good area as well. We didn't talk about them very much yesterday, but hopefully this good zone will get them kind of kick-started for today.
Yeah, you know, great point, Sento, because Kicked Out, again, I'm not as familiar with EU, same as you there. Kicked Out, I think they're in 6th or 7th place right now. They're right on the edge of top 5. And they were playing pretty well. They seemed like they had some really good fights. Ben Z, I remember winning some good fights and battalions or batulins, excuse me for the pronunciation there, but they were playing very well. So definitely a team to watch out. And they have center zone, so let's see what they could do with that in game 1.
Yeah, there's also a bunch of teams that have a pretty long rotation. If you do take a look at your map on the left side, Georgia Pool, we've got AE over there who won some pretty good fights, kind of played a little bit of a role of spoiler. I remember AE had a couple different times where they had one person alive end game, and they took out like all of WC in one of those tough Milta zones that we saw yesterday. So we're going to have to see if AE can do a better job of keeping their whole squad up here. But they've got a long rotation out of that George Pool area. K7, our first place team, is hanging out just below Mount Everest in the Gatka area. So we'll keep an eye on K7 as well, see if they can hold on to that first place position moving into the next week. But
absolutely, we have ZES here was kind of scoping out the second J compound to the north in a buggy, so I thought we might see some first blood action here, but they get away okay. And absolutely, AE seem like they're really on the cusp of playing well. You know, this is a long event, so they have plenty of time to catch up, but they seem like they have a lot of potential for sure. I don't think they came out with any wins. They had a really close second place on Miramar, I feel like. So we'll see if they can get a dub today. I'd really love to see the parity continue on. Just so many different teams winning and playing well yesterday, which just makes the competition so much better. And if you're new to watching these events or you're just tuning in because you enjoy PUBG, I feel like anything is more fun if you can kind of attach yourself to a team. So maybe pick a team to root for or check out some of the streams, or maybe you recognize some of the players. But if you can kind of pick a team to maybe root for through the event, it makes it a little bit more fun.
Yeah, that's a great point, and it kind of ties into the fact that all of these teams are required to be streaming. So if you're at all curious, the location of those streams, don't hesitate to ask. We've got moderators, and especially in our Discord, we have a lot of those links. So we won't, we will do our best to guide you to these streams. It's all about promoting and putting some hype around these players and teams that work so hard on their craft here. And again, one of the biggest events EU has seen in some time here, so we know that they're locked in and ready to go. Hopefully we'll get into some EU Astro A40 listen-ins at some point today, so we'll keep an eye out for some good opportunities, Blitz. But I think we're seeing some kills in rotation happen on the north side of the map. It kind of looks like
and
RS,
there's a pickup coming
in, and Euro all kind of in the same spot here.
And TXE pulling up on the pickup, at least the first member down, landing on the roof here. Euro, one member down at least. RS Pickle, there's 2 members here. This is going to get chaotic. I'm going to tap into TXC's view because they're on the roof. Just got sent over to the other side here. We're on Frozen's viewpoint. He's on the roof. He can see Euro here on the wall.
It's going to be Tazzy that actually opens things up here onto a knock. That's going to be Kadoosh going down. Actually, Bosnian trying to deal with another crash on the north side. That's going to be RS on unfortunately, it looks like they crashed into a rock there, Blitz, and 2 members are going to go down. The other 2 were in this compound already, so that's just unfortunate timing. I'm going to have to do a little bit of a license check on the driver of that car there.
Yeah, I think they were, obviously trying to come in and help their teammates. Didn't know really where to show up here. And then hitting that rock was definitely the worst case scenario for them.
No Sino with a nice knock here. And actually, TXC Frozen steps out and takes that kill. So there is several teams scrapping it up here. Knocks are getting knocked. And now RLX from the wood side, the Southwest Blitz. If you do maybe get a little bit of an aerial view, there's just so many teams that want a piece of this pie here. We now have 4 in the compound.
Yeah, it looks like that might have been the last member, or there's one more member of RS there, Denial, who I think we saw doing pretty well yesterday, holding up for his team, got the knock on Frozen. As Stento mentioned, RLX moved into the bottom side of the compound here. 1 member of Euro still up. That's team 17 eliminated. First team gone from the tournament today.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff going on here. Looks like a res is going to happen onto that TXC team. Frozen is up. He's going to need to get a heal off. Very interesting dynamic to this fight. And now 4th party, 5th party, whatever we are at now, Blitz, ZES from the south side gets a knock on RLX. And it looks like TXC understands what just happened and they're kind of trying to push over.
RMV is also in the area. I don't know if they're going to pull up. They're thinking about it. They're scoping out on the east side here. 2 members of RLX in the garage. ZES is also still watching from outside, as Sento mentioned, like the 5th or 6th party at this point.
Yeah, they were actually able to confirm that kill. I didn't notice Head Pain was in between the 2 buildings here, but Sal on the south side confirms that kill. In Ghost, another ZES member takes down RLX, and that's all those kills going to ZES. RLX is out in 16th place, so a hot start here, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Main Gaming NA versus EU showdown. This is day 2 of the EU section, and we wasted no time whatsoever. 8 minutes into this blitz, we've already seen 2 teams drop.
Absolutely. ZS there, I think after that knock, decided to back off. So is RMV. So finally, we get a little bit of a break on the compound. And get this, after all of that, the 2 members of Euro are actually still alive. They were like the original team at this compound. So it's just crazy that we saw 5 or 6 teams show up here and they still are surviving with just 2. But they only have 1 kill for their name. So they didn't make out with much.
Yeah, such an interesting, I feel, start to the event. I feel like things started out a little bit slow yesterday. We'd see a lot of teams like 59 into end game to like 20 minutes, and we're already down to 51 players here. Another thing I want to point out to you, Blitz, is that K7 still in the blue. They're hanging out over by George Pool, perhaps getting extra looted up. Maybe there's a couple other members already on their way. Is that all 4 of them there?
Seems like they've been a big fan of using the pickup, and they have one right now, Stento. This is what I'm talking about. If you were a really trolly team in the center, you could kind of put one down here knowing that a team could be using it at this point, right? But that's what they're waiting for right now.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see where they end up there. But they did lose 1 member. Anto is gone. We must have missed that action when we were watching the J compound scramble go down. But I think K7 has been doing a lot of this. We saw them a couple times on Miramar yesterday with those really drastic edge rotations, kind of wrapping back and forth. They kind of couldn't decide where to go. So it'd be interesting to see how K7 handles this. They seem to be totally unfazed by being outside of zone in the first couple phases here, which is it's very interesting to watch. They're our first place team, and I think very basic rule of thumb is try to get some center position early. That doesn't seem to be a problem for K7.
No, not at all. And I think they're kind of banking on a situation like this happening where the circle shifted south and now there are a few open compounds. This isn't always going to happen, so it is still 50-50 taking those pickups. We saw some successful ones yesterday. We saw some bad ones yesterday as well. But now, yeah, prison is open. I really like Torch's spot here on the bottom side. They're kind of in a 2-2 split, one of my favorite 2-2 splits in this area. Both those compounds are just really kind of strong on an island. Hard to push, and we might see action between Code Red Gaming and NES.
Is my game lagged out or something? Do you still see K7 in the blue?
So they're in the blue. This is what I'm talking about. They might have got denied.
Are they sitting on the ground on your screen?
They might
like in a car.
So they're sitting down on my screen, but sometimes the emergency pickup lags in spectator Stento, so they might pop up somewhere in the middle of the map at a certain point here.
Or 3 of them like play Duck Duck Goose or something here, but I'm not sure. I've never seen any sort of lag like that, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. I definitely think that something is going down just with the spectator mode, as you can predict. Forever there has been a little bit of a lag when you're spectating one of your friends while shooting, that type of thing. So I assume we're dealing with something like that, and we're gonna see them on our screen here soon drop in. We'll have to pay attention, Blitz.
Yeah, for sure.
There we go.
While we wait,
him.
we got some action on the north side here. Pio's the last one left for his squad, fighting pretty well against RMV, but Takashi's coming in to help out. Pio's kind of on a tear right now. Damages Takashi. Can he take out the other member? RMV does still has 44 health. It's going to look towards the tree. No more lethal. It's going to go for the flush here. Pio just putting a team on his back. We saw him make some big plays yesterday. This guy's definitely a player to watch out for.
Yeah, I believe he was kind of the situation we talked about. He was found alone end game and was still picking up some kills and some good placement for the squad. That's going to be a nade, I believe, from Takashi that takes PO down. So a one-man squad kind of just putting a lot of work into RMV there, but they do end up taking him down. Maybe with a little help from P7, Blitz?
Yeah, potentially there on the side. I saw that P7 only has 2 members remaining here. They do have 3 kills to their name. RMV Takashi is heading out. I'm trying to see if that's the last member of RMV now. I think it is. After that skirmish, he is the last one left. For some reason, he's heading back towards P7 though, since I'm not sure why he'd be doing this. He got the car, kind of had the ability to get away safely. Kind of curious why this would be happening here. Also, Stento, K7 did show up in the lumberyard. I think there's a big spectator bug with the emergency pickup there. He actually might catch P7. Going for this car. Not a great initial shot there, but second one catches Ivix. Really going to spoil their game.
RMV Takashi, just a solo here. I thought he was able to get a res or two, but he's still scrapping it out here with P7. He's going to take both members of that 2-man down. Takashi putting on a little bit of a show here. He's got 4 kills, 5 total for the squad. Unfortunately, he's going to have to press forward here in phase 3 as just a solo.
That was actually a great move. I just wonder what made him decide to stop there and go for that. But it ended up working out. I mean, they got 2 extra points. So it works out in his favor. We're seeing some teams rotate. The circle went back to the north side, Stento.
Yeah, it's going to get messy over there. ZES is in prison. TXC just to the north of them. T1, that's Tenetic 1 rotating by. And lots of other teams like WC and Toxic EU have shots at all this. So it looks like T1 has pulled up just on the edge here. They're using Stickas and a couple others to kind of scout, or they're not going to be in from this current location as the rest of the team kind of groups up on this location. There's other teams flying by, Blitz, so this is only going to be a temporary spot. Zone is starting to move in just a few seconds here, so it looks like Stickas going to hop back into the car, group up with the rest of the squad a little bit closer to edge of zone here. They're just going to need to be careful. They're getting really close to Toxic EU.
So again, Tenetic right now is one of our top teams. I think they're in second place. They did get a win yesterday for people following the matches. So definitely a team to look out for here. See what they do. They've had a quiet start to game 1. Again, this is only the first game out of 5 again today.
I like the spot that they pulled up to, Blitz. This is a very difficult hill to play early on. And really, I feel like the only place you can pull up and have any cover is this shack. But they're going to kind of spread out all over this hill and kind of take full command. There's a couple different dips. You're finding Ruzi and Stickas pull into different locations. They seem to have played this location before and know which exact spots to hold. So they're going to group up on Ruzi, I think, and kind of play a little bit of a dip here. But you're starting to see some more kills break out on the kill feed here. It's NES and KO both picking up a knock there on edge of zone, I believe.
Yeah, there were some rotations here. It looks like I'm going to tap into code red. I think they got stuck here with their McLaren. TXC's on the left side at the beach. Trav's just got a nice knock with a 3x M4. Looks like Course got their teammates up here at the edge of blue. This is just a bad place to stop, and now those shots come in from T1. Travs is down. Keebs is trying to get in from the blue.
Yeah, it's actually T1 from that spot we were just checking out up on the hill that picks up that kill onto Traves. Cocky's going to get out of there. I'm not sure if he has enough room on the car for the rest of the boys. He's just got a McLaren, and that's when it know, is the 2-car fancy car worth it here? They're gonna just send 2 in and leave Spencer on the edge. That car is blown up. Blitz. Takashi was kind of waiting for them here. They're gonna be in the middle of nowhere. They're gonna need smokes very quickly here to have a chance. Takashi headshots with the barrel onto Keebs.
Yeah, Keebs in a dire situation here. Gonna go into a kind of aerial view because I think we're gonna see some nades coming in. This is actually giving TXC an opportunity to move down the beach. The circle left Lipovka, Stento, so any team on this side is going to have to move in, kind of further solidifying the spot that T1 took before.
Yeah, and something to point out as well, our third place team, Winner Circle, just sitting pretty in that 4-building compound in the center zone. Package is dropping just a little bit to the east of them. If you do take a look at your map, watching Torch kind of rotate into a decent spot on the southeast side in the on the beach there, and it looks like Fizz is kind of interested in this package. He's just kind of extending out to that shack there. But I kind of want to bring your attention to the edge of Prison. We have K7 very close to Nitrous Esports here on the edge of the rocks on Prison.
Very close situation here.
It's Q-Dex that starts it off.
Most likely only one of these teams is going to make it out of here alive. K7 has the upper hand here, being on the hill. There's a kind of a rolling hill that's hard for NES to cover here, but Q-Dex goes down. He kind of overextends himself there. Kept the peak
full
too
confidence
long.
in his shots, just didn't land him with that AK, and a good response there from Rez, I believe. Does get one of those knocks, but Gav is up close and personal already. He's gonna get a smoke up onto Q-Dex and just see what he can do.
So I think what just changed the game here is, Stento, sorry to interrupt you. I missed it, but I think NES just parachuted off this cliff, which is a new feature that you can do. Previously, you wouldn't have been able to get down as quickly as they did, Stento. So that's a big change right there, because usually you'd be really stuck in that spot that NES was at.
Yeah, that is a massive change, which came with one of the most recent updates where you're able to pull your parachute all the time on all these maps. So they're able to, they're gate kept a couple months ago, Blitz, and they're gonna have to try to find a way around these rocks because you cannot just jump off that spot. But that was kind of fun to watch, and they're actually going to be able to get Q-Dex up here, so kind of a defensive knock onto Q-Dex, let them rotate down and away. This edge team, we've talked about them a lot, playing edge, and they're kind of getting a little curious here on what happened up on this side of Prison between K7 and NES. So Pammy kind of leading the way up the hill as we keep our eyes on this from above here. Kizza is going to be the one that meets them first. Maybe we should tap into his perspective because I think he sees them.
Yeah, I'm on Pammy right now. He's actually about to run into Kizza. He hears the shots. He's got an angle from the side. Pammy's going to get a quick knock there. I think it's just 2 members left of K7. Now they're stuck up against the rock, Stento. That push kind of trapped them. This was a terrible timing for Edge to show up for K7, but great for Edge here.
Yeah, that's going to be Pammy's grenade that confirms Kizza. So K7 down to just 2 players here. And NES is starting to wrap back up the Prison rocks, which might actually kind of prevent K7 from moving from this location.
Yeah, the K7's now in a tough spot. The circle's moved away, so Edge has to decide if they're going to gatekeep or move towards the edge. And now they have to worry about Torch. But Torch is actually going to the water right now to maybe try to take out TXC. I'm going to tap in because it looks like TXC's back's up against the wall. As soon as we pull over there, both members eliminated. So now Torch can go back and defend their area here from Edge. And it also looks like KO and T1 are about to have a skirmish, Stento. This looks like it's a little bit bigger because these are 2 of our top 8 teams, top 6 teams, actually. Infernix was jumping, trying to spot out KO. Gets shot on the jump. T1 Ruzi down to 2 health. Gonna have to go for a first aid. Stickers with a nasty 3 times barrel spray, but dives out of it to reload. We're back on Ruzi, got his first aid, but back to 75% health. Misses his shots. KO, we told you guys, our shooters playing well here.
Yeah, we've seen a lot from this KO team in the first day of competition. They've already got 6 kills in match 1 today, Blitz, and now it's just 2 members remaining for Genetic 1. They're starting to wrap a little bit more center zone to get position on this squad, but still 4 up for KO, so we have to keep an eye on them. Just hanging out on the north side here. Again, continuing their successful squad versus squad fights from yesterday.
Yeah, very interesting here. I thought this would be a bigger skirmish, but as you said, T1 trying to get back into position. That's the one bad spot about that area, Stento, is that it's kind of a really long rolling hill. PUBG does this a lot, right? They make these long rolling hills, so it's hard to defend because you kind of you keep going down the hill because you're like, let's keep checking this next hill, and then you get too far out of position, and you lose a few members there. It happens so often.
Yeah, another member of T1, Stickhouse, gets knocked and thirsted in the process there. I'm watching on my map right now, currently, Blitz. One of the members from Toxic EU, Swift, is kind of rapping along the north side. Might play a little bit of a spoiler for KO here. It looks like they're looking his direction, though they might have spotted him.
I'll keep an eye out. Looks like they're looking that way. I'm quickly just checking NES here, fighting with Edge. Gonna spoiler their game here. Edge gets, NES, excuse me, gets 2 kills. Rez goes down. It's just Slayers left. I think Edge was gonna need a full team here to take out Torch or Winter Circle, who have been just sitting comfy in their compound. Slayers is gonna go down, taking out the rest of NES, and just 2 members of Edge remain. The third one might be able to get picked up, though, actually. I stand corrected. Let's see if Torch is going to pick up here.
This res off, but as you said, Torch is pushing up aggressively. It looks like they've got some heavy artillery in the hands of Luca again. He's got the 6x scope on the MK here, and he's pushing aggressively into the smoke as well here. They're looking with a little bit of blind spray into the smoke, continuing some success there. Luca gets 2 of them, and the nade from Kayomi's going to do him in real quick. Torch, a little bit of a quiet start here, but quickly picking up 5 kills in the last minute or 2.
Yeah, it was interesting because Kayomi was waiting on that nade, and we heard some comms yesterday where the teams were talking about kind of not wanting to use their nades because they know how valuable they are late game. So I think that's what we might have saw there, was Kayomi being like, they're kind of stuck here. We've surrounded them. We don't need to use this nade. But then eventually the smoke just, wasn't dissipating, and they just decided to hit that nade. But it's kind of an interesting theory. A lot of new players will use those nades too early, and really you always want to save them for, as long as you can, if you can, that is. Torch now has a commanding lead of half the zone, Stento, and we are in our final 4 teams.
Yeah, and they're just starting to frag out. I think half of the KO kicked out team tried to crash this shack here, and there was still 1 remaining member from Tenetic 1 who got a knock or 2, and Torch just started picking up those knocks and maybe picked up one of the final kills there. So they quickly again went from 5 to 7 kills, stacking another 2 very swiftly. And really the main threat to them is going to be the 3-man of Winter Circle, who are starting to rotate with some vehicles here. Ghost just sent a UAZ up. We have a solo in Toxic EU, Swift, kind of hanging out on the north side. Still, he's got his team into the top 4. Now top 3, as a good grenade from Merc is going to take out the rest of KO at that shack there. And Luca continuing to put the MK to work there. He's going to drop one of those members for WC. That's Paul going down.
Yeah, Bueno had a nade, but Luca backs up here. Ghost is still hanging back. Torch really doesn't need to move here, Stento. This is where something could go wrong, potentially. But they've actually pushed so far together.
Yeah, you kind of called it, Blitz. One of the members, Fizz, goes down, but Torch is on an all-out send here. They really only have 2 solos left to deal with. And that's going to be a knock and, a straight kill for Luca onto Swift. And it's only Ghost left here for Winter Circle. He's got 3 members of Torch to deal with. It's going to be a tall task, but we know Ghost can shoot.
He was there by himself.
Headshots with the barrel, Blitz. He's got a 2v1 now. He's got a nade out. He's located Merc, or maybe he hears him, Blitz.
The barrel can do anything in this game. It's so strong, but that nade comes down, and then Luca gets the knock from the side, the last flush.
Was a great nade, and Torch seemed to be in full control there, even though Ghost was putting up an insane fight there. So that's going to be match 1. Winter Chicken Dinner going to Torch, just like yesterday, Blitz, and it's going to be a 12-kill chicken dinner. A 3-man for Winter Circle picked up 2 kills, and rounding out our top 3 was Swift and the Toxic EU boys. 1 kill going to Swift there. So in a great first match of the evening, a little bit different paced than we saw yesterday, but incredibly exciting nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely, Sento. I'm going to bring it to our cameras here so we can say hello to everybody quickly. Yeah, I kind of like the pace a little bit better there because things got so hectic in some of the games yesterday. It was hard to commentate everything and catch the action. I feel like we were able to catch so much of the action there, and a really great job from Torch. Again, they won yesterday. I think they won game 1 yesterday, so back-to-back game 1 wins. And again, a lot of the teams we talked about, AE and stuff, not making the top 5, so we'll see if they can come back in the next few games.
Yeah, I was kind of focused on Torch there at the end. We didn't talk about them very much in the beginning of that match, but once they kind of got into that beach side there and to that shack, they picked up 12 kills in the last couple minutes of the game, and really it wasn't that much in question. Blitz, I'm gonna have you start the next lobby up. My game isn't letting me in.
Okay, I was having the same issue. Some players might be having that too. PUBG's been having things to authorize.
I was just hitting A over and over, and I restarted my game, and it's giving me some unauthorized thing. Yeah, so it just worked. We're gonna get that lobby up immediately, guys. And we'll be back with match 2 in just a second.
All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate y'all. in case you guys missed it, some of the information we have here. These are our EU teams. Then we also have our list of NA teams they'll be playing later tonight in about 4 hours from now, little more than 4 hours. Then we have our prize pool for the regular season. We'll be kind of eliminating the top teams from both sections. Will be awarded prizes and also playing against each other in the finals, where we will have an additional $4,000 in prizes. Absolutely amazing prize pool here for the PUBG console scene. Here's our daily rotation. We are playing 5 games in each section. So 5 games for EU, then 5 games for NA. Tomorrow, EU will be off. They're just playing for 2 days, and NA is playing for 3 days. Might sound confusing. We'll have some schedule stuff for you guys out there so you can follow along with some of your favorite teams. And we will get back to the action because we do have the second plane path, of the day on Erangel, and then we'll be headed to Miramar. This first one going to Zarki, Milton Power. And again, if you guys missed it, I'm Blitz5, one of your hosts for today, followed with my brother here, Stento, the founder of Main Gaming. We've been casting events together for quite some time now, and we're happy to bring this showdown to you guys right now for the month of June.
Yeah, I think we've both had a lot of fun getting to know some of these players and teams on the EU side. We've done a couple EU events before, but not quite a month-long league like this. So we're really in for a treat here as we're getting to see some of the talent of these teams and players in what appears to be a really veteran scene from the Europe side here. There's just a ton of different teams that play. I think I've heard, upwards of 60 teams competing. We only have 17 in this event. So, we'll keep an eye on the future to kind of boost the amount of teams we get in here. But it's just been so enjoyable watching these squads in the first day or two, and just some really high quality gameplay and fights.
Absolutely, man. The gameplay has just been so great. EU definitely, both areas playing well. I can't wait until they play against each other, Stento, which should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait till we narrow down to the top 8 from each side in a pretty similar circle that we've seen, almost identical to last circle, although we were a little bit more to the east side in the water, but just a very similar start. Lots of teams like Winner Circle, KO, and ZES are in comfortable spots to start. Torch in their typical drop over there in Milta. Yeah, we're going to see a pretty similar start to game 1 here.
Yeah, for sure. K7 and P7 very close to one another, and Kiza here in the buggy's actually getting pretty close to the P7 squad. They know that they're next to each other. They spotted each other driving in, and he might go for a drive-by run over play. I think he oversent it here, Stento. Kiza almost getting killed there, down to 49 health, and it's just going to drive away. But with the buggy, you just lack so much cover there. Risky play, but you gotta love the send from Kiza early on. We'll take a look at the map here to see if any teams are close to one another. We have another Eastern Circle. We've been seeing so many of these. This has to be our 6th one, I think, between yesterday and today at this point. Would definitely love to see
we're getting pretty used to this circle over here. Almost identical again to that first circle today as well.
Yeah, I'd love to see some variation. Hopefully we get some more. I mean, we will definitely get some with Miramar in the next 2 games. But I'd love to see some different stuff, especially maybe one up to Stallberg military base. We still have one more Erangel after this match, or after as the final match, excuse me.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look around the map, Blitz, and no hot drops really to talk about yet. It was really that play from Kiza that was just so funny, just kind of full sending off the rails at those guys trying to get a quick kill point. I love that stuff from the first place team, just playing like they got nothing to lose.
Yeah, just playing like a regular match. And honestly, sometimes you catch people out like that, running towards the compound and run them over. You never know what's going to happen. T1 already making a really quick rotation center. I mean, they landed at schools and apartments. They could have looted there for quite some time, but they decided to move a little bit more center here. Might be going for the long game early on. Now RLX is rotating. They're kind of going to be right behind T1, so I'm going to tap into their rotation.
Yeah, it appears to be the time that most of these teams have gotten looted up and are starting to head into zone. Only P7 and K7 hanging out in Gadka and Georgia Pool, respectively, kind of hanging out, still not on the move. But just about everyone else is starting to send their way into zone.
I think we had one of the members crash their vehicle here of RLX, so going back, stopping this rotation. A lot of people love to rotate on this hill, Stento. Above farm, Code Red's there. RLX is kind of in the area. Toxic EU below them. KO just got a random knock on Mercule there. One of the members of KO is outside of Lipovka by himself. That was from the small blue compound to Mansion, it looks like.
Yeah, very interesting. We didn't get over here in time, but one of the ZES members, unfortunately, going down to Batulins here. And oh my goodness, that was through the smoke. I don't think you were quite able to catch that, but Batulins threw a smoke on this box, walked into the smoke, and someone over from Mansion Compound hits a bolty headshot through the smoke.
Wow, that's absolutely insane. Yeah, I did not catch that.
Batulins is going to be able to get rezzed here if ZES doesn't full send this. Because the rest of the team is already in vehicles leaving Lipovka. If you do take a quick look at your map blitz, they're full sending to try to get this revive here.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a lucky heady or if there was a smoke render issue there at that distance. I mean,
I don't know.
We've been seeing a lot of people shoot through the smoke, and I'm always a big fan of that. I mean, you kind of have a general idea of where they are, right? The smoke's only so big. It's like, why not shoot and just try to see if you get that shot?
The benefits of having an M249. Did we have a look at that package? It looks like WC might have found themselves a little bit of gold there. That is my favorite package gun at the current moment right now. And again, these top competitive players on console really know how to put that thing on auto and let it just sing.
Yeah, for sure. And the competition level, I mean, that gun is such a game changer. You've seen it so many times. NES driving by T1 here. One of the members, Ruzi, was out and about. They spent so much time getting this early ground Stento, but they're in the middle of the field by himself and gets caught out by the rotation of NES. Yeah,
it doesn't look like NES is going to stop. So we're going to see another revive happen, I think, here. Yeah, there was some good drive-bys from this NES squad who is now going to pull up in this dip here, which is often played. I believe they call it the phase dip over here. It's a very interesting spot to try to take early here. And Ghost is kind of getting an interesting angle on it. So there really isn't much for them to play here. Ghost has got the 8X on the Mini, and he's really just hounding these guys down. So NES is going to have to reconsider this spot potentially, or they're going to need to put some good shots back on Ghost. You can clearly see this man knows how to use this gun. He's already damaged up a couple players. They decided it's time to go.
Yeah, this was I think too early for this spot. Stento. They could be rearranging the cars, but they might kind of risk losing some of the cars here.
Yeah, eventually Ghost is going to be forced out of this position. Yeah, I feel like Nitrous Esports will be a little safer there, but right now this is just really, really tough for Nitrous because they don't have any sort of cover with this angle that Ghost has taken.
I feel like if another team member was there with Ghost in a vehicle, they could have had two people there kind of really pinning them down, but you never know who else is going to show up, right? So I guess Winner Circle's just going to go back to the Hall of Fame building here and hang out for a little bit. I love seeing the mini play in EU. That's my favorite gun in the game. You know, a lot of people make fun of me for that. I absolutely love the mini, and you don't see it as much in NA games on console, but in EU we've been seeing it a lot, and on PC obviously it's used fairly often there as well.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite guns too. When I'm taking a game serious or maybe playing a little bit of ranked here and there, I'm usually gonna grab a mini for my long range gun. You can't beat the bullet velocity for me personally.
Yeah, that's what I'm a big fan of as well. The damage can be low at times. K7 again, Stento playing the outside. They've just been really waiting. P7, our first airdrop for today. Looks like they might be going for Mansion or Heaven here. I'll pay attention to where they end up dropping. I think they just hopped off the plane. They're going to be looking at where to go. I'm actually going to get into their perspective and see. So they're looking at Mansion. They're trying to get some information. Looks like they might actually go farther north, but they're definitely paying attention to what's going on at Mansion. And they're going to take some of the compounds a lot further north here. So they're really banking on a potential north drop here, maybe just trying to secure a vehicle, which is something important too after the pickup, right, Sento? We talked about this yesterday. If you're doing the pickup, I think it's super important to land somewhere where you know there is a hard spawn or a vehicle in the area, because you don't want to just be there without a car.
Yeah, or have a second pickup like we saw a couple teams yesterday.
Yeah.
But looking at your map, there's so many teams that have hunkered down into really good centered up location, kind of mainly on the west side of prison. There's just so many teams that are safe for now. And in just a few moments here, we're going to see exactly where we're shifting and then who's going to have to move here. Blitz is a heavy pull. It's almost all of those teams I was talking about. Our winners from match 1 of the day, Torch, are now in dead center again. And we know they know how to fight from that type of a position. Sometimes people get a little overzealous and aren't able to keep 4 up. Torches does a very good job of keeping their whole team end game when they get into positions like this. So I think I'm going to call it right now. 17 teams up, 67 players. Torch is taking this one.
I agree with you because Torch, they also land in this area. So they know this area very well. I wouldn't doubt if they're going to go south now. Remember, they did like a 4-person split around the mini Milta area. AE's also getting here as well, kind of preparing for this spot. We've seen this circle so many times, Sento. The one finish we haven't really seen is the finish closer to Milta Power. So I'm going to think maybe it goes that way. We've seen the Lumberyard finish. We've seen the Milta finish. We haven't seen it finish in prison yet. I'm actually tapped in on NES right now. One of the members.
First knock in a long time there. On the kill feed, we're seeing Code Red Gaming fight versus NES Blitz, and this might be a good time to jump into COR's party and get a little bit of an Astro A40 listen in with Code Red Gaming.
All right, we're gonna hop in right now and listen to their perspective.
One low right. Going low right to take the tree.
I think it's worth taking blue. Either of you have a car. Any of you have a car on?
It's on the smoke.
Someone go take blue.
I'm in a bit of a bad spot now, boys.
I needed the smoke.
I'm on the
flash.
compound to get angles.
Need to watch also left from behind where we was.
No one's been shooting us from ping. Boys, do you reckon
One
we
is
get the
like
fix
orange,
from ping?
My left village on blue. I think blue is good. I think green is good, sorry.
I need to run back.
Yeah. Just take Vix and send green.
This is dead fight. Let's go.
I can't get in this game with bug, Jesus.
It is a dead fight, to be fair.
Oh, no, it's not. Traves, why you gotta be so good, man?
Only got one car.
Where's the dust?
I mean, yeah, who took, like, where's the Dassy?
Stood up on that road, apparently.
Why did you do relays?
Oh.
All right, so hopping back in with you, Stento. Major takeaway from that audio was how calm Code Red was there. Very calm about the fight, just talking about the situation. And why most teams there, I feel like in a normal setting or in a rank setting, would be just all in on that fight. Code Red was mostly talking about their next rotation point. And the fight was kind of like a secondary thing that was happening. So they were like, you know, we're not getting shot from the side. Why don't we just move further in? And at the end of the day, position wins usually over gun skill, right? So getting the spot now, they've kind of surrounded them either way, NES, and took a better spot. And the circle just kind of keeps going to the east anyway. But just kind of a high level comms from Code Red there. And interesting to hear.
Yeah, it actually looks like Code Red is kind of not locked in, but interested in maybe these kills. They're still in the area. Actually, it looks like they're kind of shuttling people out of that area back into this other compound, which is a little bit easier to work their way up the hill. But as you mentioned, this shift is something we saw a number of times yesterday as well. It's just such a difficult zone to play because you don't know if it's going to pull you up the hill. You don't know if you're going to be good in some of these power compounds like Torch, like RMV over here as well. There's just so many good positions to play. So almost at the mercy of the circle here, because it's just one of those zones that you have a really good position. You're going to be able to kind of hold it and frag out from that position, while other teams just kind of scramble for a spot on the edge or in some of this open farmland or on some of the ridges close to other compounds. It's a pretty diverse circle in terms of the terrain.
Oh, absolutely. There is so much different terrain here, especially towards the center, up towards Lumberyard. We have two teams, P7 trying to rotate in right behind Euro. Steels get shot out by Bosnian. Kind of missed those shots, but we do see the two members of P7 down. They're going to get flushed out here as well. P7 is going to try to continue on the motorcycle. This is Bonnie looking for a spot. So many teams in this area. This compound to the left is actually open, though. Bonnie's going to be surprised to find out that this is open. No Mercy and Bonnie are now split up, though.
Yeah, unfortunate. Just a little bit of a broken rotation there, getting ripped out as they drove by that Euro squad. So good shots from Euro. I think that Thirst is eventually going to come out on the steals there. There you go. Bosnian picks it up. And now we're kind of tapping over towards what's going on at Shelter there.
So what happened is Winter Circle just took a emergency pickup, but one member didn't get on, and he got killed and flushed out. And now Winter Circle is going to be dropping into somewhere in the center zone here. We got to pay attention. I think they might be going to Mini Milta Stento, and it's open.
Yeah, it's actually a decent spot to be able to play the roofs for some kills, especially as a two-man. Are they still have one player who's lagged out or something? Where am I missing this?
Yeah, it looks like Kempi must have lagged out somewhere. I see the disconnected sign on his screen. Just don't know where he is. Maybe disconnected on the plane.
Still a decent spot for these two as a two-man. I believe this was our third place team going into this match here, but we're also seeing a fight break out on the top of this Woodyard Hill between RLX and ZES splits.
Yeah, I just tapped over here into Undertaker's perspective. He's got the 4 times on the M4 peeking this way. Ghost is down.
Yeah, kind of using the blue edge to kind of push them a little bit, but looks like the IGL has pulled him back, and they're going to consider perhaps pushing the north side. A couple of the members are still kind of stuck in, but it looks like they want to pull off of this edge fight and kind of work their way towards zone.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly shift because we got a crash from KO. Just missed it. Apologies here. I was in the map, Stento, and every single team seemed to be shooting there. I'm in the center zone, so I really wanted to see what was going on there. So we'll just tap back into RLX, but that was crazy. KO just had a successful crash on a great compound there in center zone.
A couple other crashes seem to be happening. If you do want to pull your map back up, unfortunately, a couple members of TXEU getting ripped out by a combination of WC and Torch. And T1 also rotated very close. Is a very common spot to play these little ridges right up against the wall here. As long as no one's really in your south side, which it is a very limited zone there, they're going to be happy with that spot for now. And it's only a two-man that kind of resisting them on the north side in that Mini Milta compound, as you mentioned. Big 2v2 spread in the center for Torch still is going to be just commanding zone for the moment now, especially if it's circles back down south. And as you can see, Blitz, we're having an airlift situation again. AE. Oh, is that lagging on my screen again? Are they dropping in?
I think AE's just on foot right now.
Yeah, excuse me.
They just crashed underneath K7. They're going to try to take this wizard tower. Code Red is also trying to rotate on the bottom side of the screen, so we'll try to see what happens with them. I really like KO's spot right now. It's one of my favorite compounds to hold when the circle goes this way. AE just got... Was there somebody hiding in the... Kizza was in the wizard tower. I didn't see it. He was hiding up top in the wizard tower. Huge loss. PO going down because of that hiding spot. Had no idea he was there myself. And I'm spectating. Unbelievable.
Yeah, now it's just 2 members up for this AE squad. Nata and Zen King going to be fully held out here by this K7 squad, who seems to be focusing on a couple other things at the same time. So it's really up to Kizza to just make sure he doesn't get knocked there. And AE really won't have anywhere to go. Time will not be in their favor. And it looks like ZES trying to push into the back side of them as well. Gets taken out by AE, so they do pick up an extra kill point here.
Nana getting shot from behind as well. I can't wait to see where this circle goes next, Stento, and then we're really going to catch a lot of action live here.
Yeah, absolutely. Just 5 seconds until we do get that phase 5 circle. Take a look at your map, everyone, and it's going to pull a little bit to the southeast. And
Yeah,
this
Torch and
and
Winter Circle in a big position here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we still have a decent amount of teams alive, 14 teams with 40 players. But there's going to be very limited access to safe zone here. And there are so many teams that are outside of zone. So keep your eyes on teams like K7, Edge, and COR, who are all in very difficult spots and need to find their way into zone.
Yeah, I kind of want to watch Code Red Gaming here because they have Edge to their left, who really, they constantly do play Edge. It's not just part of their name. And then RMV is trying to make their way into Torch, and they're in front of Code Red. So there's going to be a lot of bloodshed here in the next 2 minutes when this circle starts to close.
Lots of kills being picked up on the kill feed right now. Several different teams taking knocks. T1's going to be safe in their location right now. COR seems to be pulling up on Edge's zone, doing a bit of scouting here. Is Cocky. He's going to get back into the car.
Trav's on their way in. Torch looks like they grouped up, so they actually left this spot for RMV. We'll tap into their perspective. We haven't really watched them yet today. See if they have a sight line on anything. I hear some shots coming out. They see Code Red coming in on the south side here. Hex is trying to get a visual, but there's some good smokes coming on. He spotted Cocky.
Yeah, this is interesting. RMV's in a good spot with the house here, but what they're able to do in terms of push over the hill is very limited due to the third parties here. Takashi has been kind of fragging out all day here already, and we're only in match 2. Blitz takes down Cocky with the immediate thirst, and now it's Edge having their say in this battle here. Pammy with a knock onto Keebs. So it was a nice round for COR, working their way through zone and taking some fights and backing off, and very good work. It seems to be kind of falling here due to some good shots out of RMV and Edge. They might be able to get a res or 2 off here. It's going to be up to Spencer to make that happen.
But great point, Cinta, because there is this ridge here. So Cora can just hang out unless T1 gets up and spots them. They're in a separate ditch to the right, and they don't want to get up too high because they have to worry about Winter Circle there. And that's kind of what happens with this thing. You kind of called it. In this center area, there's so many different terrain changes that so many people can be close by without being able to shoot each other. That's kind of what we're seeing right now, even after these knocks, people being able to get picked up. And Pammy, we're watching him shoot from the blue, really risky sprays, just sacrifices life there. 11 team eliminated, trying to get some more knocks or a kill there, kill point onto Code Red, but doesn't work. Takashi actually left the building. He might get aggressive, Stento. He's seen these knocks pop out. There's only one alive for its trades.
Oh, I love that play from Takashi, and he knows now that T1 is also on the scene. So it's kind of piqued his interest to peek over here. He gets one of the knocks and cleans up the second one as well. Takashi with a heads up play here. He was a little bit cautious on that push because he saw T1 arrive as well and didn't exactly know how many Kinetic 1 players were on the scene, but he does get the 2 kills onto Code Red Gaming and backs off a little bit to regroup with his team. RMV in a great spot now with 5 kills, but they do have to push a little bit up the road here. They're going to have maybe a Harry Potter tower in the end to work with.
RMV with a risky kind of spray there. No health. We love Takashi just trying to go for it in the smoke there with the mini. Spamming. Fire shots there. We're going to watch Torch. They're just centered up here. Going to be fighting everywhere. We also have to watch TXC. They're going to have to make it into the zone. I like this viewpoint, though, because shortly here, K7's going to have to leave their spot. They're just out of zone. We'll quickly just see where TXC is at. There is a little ditch here for TXC, but their member's going to get flushed out pretty quickly here. So much fighting going on. We're going to go back into Torch.
Yeah, right now, Blitz, it's mainly K7 trying to work their way into zone, and they've just got so many different teams. It's both Torch and RMV just laying down heavy fire. Anto's the only one up right now. Kizza's knocked, but Anto's gonna have to get a heal off, and I don't really think he's gonna have anywhere to go here. He might honestly be better off denying kill points. It is awfully early in a tournament to be doing things like that, so I'm not sure that's even crossing his mind right now. He's gonna go for the revive on Kizza here.
If
As
he can.
approaches,
I
not going to be able to actually attempt that. He was healing up and boosting up. Unfortunately, Kizza's going to go down, and Anto might be denying this kill point. Perhaps trying to heal while he's in blue to maybe gain an extra placement. But there you go. K7's going to go out in 7th place. Torch still in a really dominant position here as Fizz gets a knock onto Takashi. So a little bit of work to do for RMV, but Kayomi says not so fast. Puts another one down with the headshots with the M4 here. And Torch in a really good spot. We've talked about it a lot. Being in such a good place like this, it is good, but your frag ability is really limited. They've only picked up 2 kills throughout all of these knocks and damage they've been laying down.
Yeah, Maz right now is trying to defend for RMV. Hit a couple shots with the bolty, but no big knocks there. RMV has almost an impossible situation to make it across the street here from this wizard tower all the way to Torch. Circle just left most of the buildings here. The one building for Torch is in. It's also left Mini Milta. Winner Circle just finishes off T1 here. We're in our final 4. We have 2 4-man teams. This is KO and Torch, and then a 3 and a 2-man squad.
Yeah, that kind of shook its way down from 8 teams down to 4 very quickly. And it's kind of KO and Torch both in the best positions here. I think KO is going to want to move into as much zone as they can right now, while Torch is dealing with RMV and WC kind of simultaneously on this edge. I think it's kind of KO's game to lose here if they can find a way to kind of get up and push up into zone as much as they can. The thing is, the terrain is very difficult to work with there, and Torch don't seem to be missing their shot. So if you're going to step close to Torch here, you better be ready to get some cover or some smokes out, because Torch seem to just be dropping everyone as they make those pushes. Maz was trying to come this way across the road and got dropped, and Hex actually drops. They're going to just deny kill points here.
Yeah, I think you're right, Sento. If KO continues to move in while Torch is worrying about RMV, right? Torch is not even moving into the next building. Of course, they have a minute still to do so, but they're going to lose a lot of their ground here, their center zone, by not moving out of this spot. But once they're certain that RMV's eliminated there, they might be able to cross the street on that side. Torch getting a knock on Marco. He might be hard to pick up here. I'm going to take a look at where Marco's at. No, but he does have a teammate with him, so he's going to get res there. Winner Circle has taken the antenna, which does have a base, but I'm not sure if that's going to be completely in. They're right on the edge. It's not going to be in. Just a portion of it is, so they're not going to be able to stand on the back side here. They're going to have to get to the side, hence all the smokes. Flat ridge for them. They can try and lay down here, but they might be seen from RMV. I'm surprised no one got into this ridge stento. There's a little bit of a lip here that my camera's on. That's a really great spot that someone from KO could have taken with this circle. Especially useful in FPP. KO getting a nice knock from a distance, though.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think KO we'll have to wait and see, but I would have liked to see them gain a little bit more of a foothold into zone while Torch was dealing with RMV and another thing. But I think this is a really good play if you do check out where Merc has gone for Torch, and actually it's Luca who opens up with a knock onto Marco, and that's gonna allow Merc to just kind of full send over this rock here. He is playing it a little bit cautious. Got the 3x on the AUG, and it's actually Luca again who gets another knock. So now it's just 2 players up for this KO squad. Merc is watching the backside, but the 3x AUG drops one of the final players. Now it's just Batulins, and he's
coming in with nades right now, and Luca's very close. Batulins knocks Luca, though. These nades aren't hitting, but this last one will be getting very, very close here. Going a little bit too far. 1v3 situation. Batulins down to half health. Going to be very hard to fight out of this. Fizz finally spotted him out on the rotation, and they come down with back-to-back dub, Stento, for Torch. Third win so far of the event, of the tournament.
Yeah, a very strong position early on for them. We saw them holding a little bit of a 2-2 split. And it just works out. They had such good zone for so long. They weren't able to get maybe as many kills as they would have liked, but they'll take 7 kills and a chicken dinner all day, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. And you called it early on, Stento. You were saying Torch with that great position. KO also has to be pretty happy with this game. They pulled off 12 kills in a second place, so that's definitely going to help them out a lot. Winner Circle as well. They only had 2 members that made it to that middle compound, so for them to come in third with 7 kills is also great. And then RMV in fourth with 7 kills. And just rounding out the top 5, T1 also kind of making an appearance there, but only with 2 kills so far. So I guess that's it for game 2, Stento. As I mentioned before, you called it, dude. Great. You know, it's easier said than done.
17 teams up, baby. Called it.
Easier said than done to take that position. But as you mentioned, it's also easier said than done for us casting, right? But we kind of spotted that KO seemed like if they moved out, they would have potentially had a stronger spot. But they kind of stayed where they were. Again, I didn't know what their smoke situation was, but one of the most important things to do in the end game is try to get as much territory as you can. Obviously, there's risk reward because you might send someone a little bit too far, but the more of the circle you can get, the more you can solidify that. And they weren't able to capitalize, and Torch got aggressive, and they must be pretty stoked after having 2 dubs in a row.
Yeah, I think K7 came into the day in first place. If we do get an updated leaderboard, I think going into this match, Torch had already taken over first place. So adding 17 points to an already first place is just going to bump them up a little bit further. There were some good games out of some of these teams, so we'll have to wait for that game to be added into the scoreboard. But yeah, just as you mentioned, I think the key point in that game was when we were talking about it. I think KO had an opportunity to move up and get a little bit more dominant position in zone. I think that the 2-man of WC made them be a little bit hesitant to actually make that play because of the angle that they had over there in mini tower. But Torch is just such a good squad that you got to take what you can when you have that short moment to take it, right? And unfortunately it didn't. Torch got some really good angles. Merc got nice and close underneath them, and then the good shooting just does itself at that point. Torch just doesn't really miss that often, and pretty efficient work taking out KO there.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, they both got to be pretty happy with that, and we'll see how they fare for game 3. We'll be headed to Miramar. Thank you guys for sticking with us. We'll be right back after a short intermission. All right, here we are for game 3 on to Miramar. We have our first plane path of the Dusty Desert. I love saying that. That's Stento's favorite phrase for this map.
Feeling my lingo, man.
Taking over here. So, what's crazy though is as we do this plane path from the bottom of the map all the way to trailer park kind of area there past El Pozo, this is just kind of a conversation for casual PUBG. If you guys aren't aware, recently PUBG has changed the circle settings. So Miramar was the biggest or the most affected map, 7.5 minutes taken off the first 3 phases of Miramar. That with the new revive system, the blue chip, Miramar has kind of skyrocketed back to one of my favorite maps in the game, because with the faster circle rotations, to me it's more like that ranked kind of vibe, much more quicker, the revive stuff. So Miramar's just been a really great map, at least for me lately, and I've always enjoyed it in the competitive play. It's just so many kind of good ridges and little nooks and crannies to play on. It just seems like a great map, so we'll be watching this over the next 2 games.
Yeah, some great points. And I also want to point out for the casual side, they also added the revive system. So not only are you getting all those other fun things you talked about, the revive system's also there adding some more players. So whether you are one of the more frag heavy type of casual players, a little bit more boosted lobbies, as well as they're moving a little bit faster. And there you go, Blitz. First circle has popped. It's heading pretty south. It looks like Tumasera is about centered up. RMV going to be very happy with that location. And a ton of teams kind of cresting the top side of this first circle here. COR, T1, Torch, TXC, both toxic teams. There's a couple teams up in El Pozo as well. And we even saw both P7 and Euro ride the plane all the way to the end there.
Yeah,
I call that section of the map the ear.
I like that. This does look like an ear. This is one of those areas where, again, like Alcantara, great city, but you rarely see the circle go up there. So it's a risky play. But here now with the emergency pickup, this could be, beneficial for Euro. As you mentioned, not many teams going south. I feel like nobody really likes to land on the south side of Miramar. It's kind of the least populated area. This is a classic comp/rank circle here for Miramar on the bottom side with a little bit of the island still in there. Could be a crazy shift that brings us there. Most likely not, though. So we'll see. RLX has to be super happy with this. They'll be able to loot up. Same thing with RMV and Edge and kind of make their way in. Edge could stay where they're at, though. They're holding church, so they could group up there and try to catch people on rotations. We'll see. I was tapped in on TXEU, and AE, both in El Pozo, just for the viewpoint here. Good cinematics, but also because we did get 2 teams, but they're not very close to each other right now.
Yeah, this might be one of those zones where we're going to see some people use those airlifts. This rotation is just so tough for some teams to take some of these main highways. And if you're not taking the main highways, it's tough to get momentum over some of these mountains and stuff. So you're really risking the rotations if you're going to be going a long ways on this Miramar map. So taking a quick look through El Pozo, it looks like the 2 teams have kind of separated themselves from the east and west side. We're kind of panning over Toxic EU. I think both teams probably planning on going their separate ways rather than taking a city fight out of zone right now. But
just saw KO on the map here taking some shots. I figured we'd just see what they're up to. They came in 2nd place. We'll have to take a look at the scoreboards here when they get updated at some point through the match, because they were, I think, in 6th. And now after kind of 2 decent games, hopefully they're moving their way up a little bit, still in a good spot. The top 8 teams from both regions will be making their way on to the final. So that's what these teams want to focus on now, is just having good, consistent games, right? SHOWDOwn, for me, everyone has their own strategies. I'm trying to go center and just play consistent, get those points, get those kills. We'll see, what teams can prevail with that strategy, or, trying to play at the edge and pick up more kill points.
yeah, I'm kind of the same as you. We see some of the top teams, I think, with the ability to play edge and frag out and still get end game and win. For some teams that are regular comp teams, but maybe not of the top tier. Playing that style is much more risky, because as soon as you take a knock in most of these situations, that fight is getting engaged, and you're gonna have to prepare to try to get that revive off on a full team pushing you. So you know, it's very difficult to play that aggressive edge style where you're looking for frag points, where you're looking for the third party, because you really need to have the full trust in all of your teammates that are able to keep themselves up, because the second, again, at this level that you take a knock, you got to expect that push.
For sure. Yeah, people are so much faster to push at this level.
Especially in those situations when you need a compound, when they have a location you have, when you need to go around someone on the edge of zone, any of those locations, man, you got to just be able to keep yourself up. And I think that's the thing with the main teams, is that they really know how to challenge and back down and make sure that they're preventing taking that first knock. Kind of looking at my map, Blitz, for a second, watching several teams kind of rotate into zone. We've got Toxic EU on the left side of your map with P7 kind of following them down.
Yeah, I was
Also, a
spectating
lot of
that.
people moving centered up.
Yeah, I was watching TXU drive in, and I saw Edge take the church as I predicted, and Winter Circle rotating, but Winter Circle knows to avoid this area. You know, at this point, Stenta, so many of the hot spots here, people kind of avoid them. So I wonder if it's almost better now to maybe, you know, take a different spot other than church, because most people know to avoid that at this point. But, you know, obviously it's still such a great vantage spot. Mercurial getting the here for ZES. Ooh, we missed this. TXC just got a wipe on AE, Stento. At the compound, we can see the aftermath.
You got the squad wipe audio in your ear. Is that how you knew? Because I didn't exactly see this right on time, but I just saw it in the kill feed. So unfortunately for No Sino here, crashes his bike into a tree, goes immediately down to the same team.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly happened here. We were trying to pay attention on the map for any close teams, so we did not catch that.
Blitz, we didn't catch it, but I'm going to throw a hypothesis out there.
All right, let's go. Dr. Stenta.
AE was sitting in this compound, and they threw down an emergency airlift. TXC was close by, and they kind of coasted up and got, like, it was such a clean wipe, right? Like, we didn't see anything in the kill feed. It all happened really quick, but enough chit chat, enough of my hypothesis. Euro pulled up.
I think you're right. That's a great hypothesis, dude.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we can find out from the 2D replay if we got someone out there who's into doing a little bit of sweaty research. When this game shows up in the PUBG API on PUBG Lookup, we can go kind of look it up and see what happened. But I just, from the kill feed, it happened so quick, Blitz, that I'm thinking that they might have all been bunched up waiting to take a thing and got snuck up on. But who really knows? Because we were pretty far away from that location, so I'm not sure if we would have seen kill feed anyways. But this TXC team is going to be happy. They just picked up 6 quick kills in their first Miramar game. But taking a look above right now, several teams have kind of circled up, centered around that Chumacera area.
Yeah, we see, you're right, all around you. I was kind of stopping at the intersection on the road by RLX and Winter Circle, but you're right, Chumacera has a lot of teams nearby. One member for NES goes down, getting the revive, so we'll have to pay attention to that. RLX was the original team in this area, so see how they fare with having the early circle. I think they took a good spot on this hill.
Blitz, we're going to see K7 drive right by RS right now. Unfortunately, Gav gets exploded. I think he might have crashed into something because of some good shots there. The car is exploded. Pickle is pushing down the hill to get this confirmation because they didn't actually get the knock. That was Gav knocking himself technically in the kill feed. And on the other end of this traits is the furthest most north member for RS in traits, and he's already got some shots down onto Kiza and Anto here, who again are now down to a 3-man as they pick up that kill onto Gav. Traits is the furthest one up, as I mentioned, so he's going to retract a little bit because Kiza and Anto are not someone who are going to shy away from a fight.
I would love to see RS play aggressive here, potentially. Trace is really the only one out this close so far. Denal's getting closer to him here. Pickle's still back at the building. This is a tough little compound to fight out of, so I wonder if RS will kind of make their way up the hill a little bit. But they might want this position to control access to the bridge just in case something crazy happens.
Yeah, I think Kiz is going to hop in the car and actually pull away from this. So we're not going to see any more action on the south side of the zone. They're both deciding that with phase one about to circle up here. Wow, it actually comes pretty severely down to the south, Blitz. If you do take a peek at your map, RLX, WC, and ZEX are now kind of centered up, and RMV really has like Chumasera gatekeep on anyone coming in from the north side.
Yeah, we have the spectator glitch again here, Stento. I think Torch took an emergency pickup from Minas. So we have a little situation here. We'll see them.
They just popped up on our map in the center zone.
So we'll see where they end up going. P7 getting tagged up, trying to rotate by the waterfront here. Let's see where Torch ends up. They have a free compound that they might be landing on. Or they could land right next to RLX. Looks like Luca wants to get closer to RLX here instead of going for that compound. Initial shots coming in towards Merc. And now they're just running back the other way. I think they called off that push. Looks like they were maybe thinking about going right towards RLX.
Yeah, I just love the use of those airdrops in Miramar gameplay. So Torch is going to be in a really good spot here. They're going to be able to kind of work from this compound back up to the north of the hill, because I think that's where the zone is going to be heading eventually. But still a lot of people alive, Blitz. Only 11 minutes have passed, but we still have 16 teams and 61 players. So things are going to start to get crowded in this zone, as you can see.
Yeah, I still prefer RLX's spot over Torch because of where the circle is centered up. Winter Circle, I love that compound, but it's so down in the valley that it can be hard to move out of there. But usually that stays in the zone for quite some time. So it should be good for a bit here. There's really no teams that are close enough to where a knock is going to lead to any kind of big crash, or, you know, quick crash, I should say.
You've got your cursor on it. Did they get a pack right there? Did RMV get a little bit of gold?
I was waiting for it to get down. It's there. Let's see if Takashi got it. He did. It's another Alm Stento. I think that's probably the #1 gun we've seen.
Did another team get an AWM, or is that their second?
Looks like that's the only one they have from Takashi. Another care package landed on the other in the water here, but I don't think anyone's going to be getting this. This is going to be a lost FAMAS.
Breaks my heart.
You hate to see it. I would love to see the FAMAS more in action today. TXC getting a good spot. This is one of those things where we're just going to see a little bit of a lull here for everybody watching, because there's so many spots here for people to hold. This is still such a big zone. One member of Euros by himself underneath P7. Risky spot to be in. Circle's going to close up here shortly. Toxic is aware that KO is watching them. Shang-Di with some pretty good SLR peaks there. That's next level peaking.
So
when
Blitz,
you can...
while we wait a little bit for...
Yeah.
Go ahead, Blitz.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, while we wait a little bit for this circle up, this is a dynamic of the game that we saw a couple times yesterday. 60 alive going into this 15-minute mark-ish. And I think this is where we're going to see in the next 5 minutes or so, this field chop itself in half from 60 to 30. That's
what we've been seeing. You know, it's usually from the 15, from when this circle closes to the 20 to 22 minute mark is where usually the most teams are eliminated. It's because we still have 16 teams up, as you said, 60 players. So yeah, I agree with you. We're going to see some chaos.
And I love this view that we've got right now, because you can just see which teams need to move into zone and who's kind of got shots on who from their different access points. So lots of teams making their way in from the northwest side of zone. That's COR and T1. And KO's got a really good compound to kind of gatekeep both of these squads. So it's time to move for several of these 15 teams. Again, still 58 players alive, so we'll keep a close eye on that. Try to make sure we're getting into some good fights here, because a lot is going to happen very quickly here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, QDEX spots RS on the move. Really like to see RS have a big game.
Yeah, trying to get a little... Yeah, RS has had a little bit of a slow start to this tournament. They did take down one of the K7 members here, so K7 trading shots back. They're trying to get a little bit of revenge for earlier this round. They lost Gav, but
You know, Stento,
Taking
I'm
a
going to
look-
take
go
a look at KO because they're on top of this hill and there's a lot of shots flying. Code Red is getting very close.
yeah, Code Red backing down a couple of these kicked out members here with some good shots as they tried to peek. This is a really difficult spot to fight. As you can see, Marco's kind of running, jumping across these fields, and you really don't know where the ridges start and stop. So someone could kind of be peeking any of these little hillsides here, and it's a very difficult place to kind of maneuver and play. You have to be very careful.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, people could peek anywhere there. This can be pretty tricky in FPP. Code Red's also fighting with RMV on the other side, so I'm going to tap into them because they have to watch out for KO above them, RMV below them.
Yeah, this is an awesome three-team battle kind of breaking out here from mid-range. Code Red fighting, as you said, two battles, doing a great job holding like the center position here. It looks like Traves is trying to get a little bit of a flank. He knows where this kicked out squad is. He's just waiting for a little bit of backup to actually make this push. He looks like he's interested in making the push on. He's just being a little bit tentative, waiting for the comms for the rest of the squad, and perhaps waiting for the go-ahead from the IGL to make this push. Blitz, what do you think?
Yeah, I wonder what's going on. Traps finally getting some shots. I was thinking about stepping into the comms. Not sure if we're going to see what we're going to see right now from Code Red. Very curious
here. It really
here.
does look like Traves, and I'm not sure who that is right next to him, but they're all kind of grouping up now on this side. They've kind of got some distance in between the other side of RMV, and this looks like the fight that they want to take. The throwables almost landing there, but they're able to move just in time. And now I think they're wrapping back away. They're trying to prioritize zone here.
Yeah, Circle just
Zone was
shifted
very
so
unkind.
far away. So instead of fighting here, they're just going to wrap from the north. And that's actually kind of open here. Meanwhile, Torch, our first place team, is fighting with NES here. It looks like 2 members of NES down. Torch, Luca knocked. Torch going to go for the revive to try to get back to 4 strong. RLX has definitely been alerted of all this shooting. Spirits is hiding in a bush now. I think the last member left for NES. Yes, that's correct. This is big.
For those of you guys who go ahead.
So this is big for RLX because they need to get on the roof here and kind of watch out for Torch, and they're just staying in the building. This could be detrimental for them to just kind of hang out here and not get a better vantage point for the gatekeep.
Yeah, again, I kind of agree with you. On our kill feed, we just missed it, but RMV was actually taken out by that Code Red gaming team. I'm not sure exactly what happened on that side of the map. I just wanted to point it out real quick. But now I'm kind of watching. Yeah, Torch, Fizz, and the boys are pushing this compound that you just spoke about. And this RLX squad is confined into straight buildings. I think, you know, if you can, you want to try to take some of these ridges and kind of play outside and defend from outside, because the push is going to be really hard to stop now. And some good throwables from Kayomi. The nades are going off, but it's the Molotov that takes down Ruina. And now the full push is on. Blitz. Fizz is again leading the way here. Not stopping for anything. A knock onto Undertaker. All 4 of Torches now into this compound. The breach is on. 1 knock onto Luca. A trade goes out onto Vanstar. Just 1 member left. Head pain in the long building here. Revives are going to happen because they've got 2 up, but he's going to need to get around the corner here. Fizz does the job. That's going to be 3 of the kills going to my man Fizz, picking him up nice and clean fashion. The third party's starting to play a factor for here. Torch is going to need to be careful as they go for these reses. And as we watch our screen, the solo Spirits pushing up just on time, decided it's his time to try to get a couple of kill points. He's going to go for those thirsts as a revive happens inside.
Devastating for Torch there, but it's actually not gonna. It could have been way worse because Merc was up already, but now another team has just entered in. This is TXEU coming in from up top, but Merc is on fire. Merc and Fizz, great teamwork there, pushing to that compound as you were casting that, kind of trading for each other and backing each other up. That was just great to see. But now they're in a tough spot.
This is unfortunate for Toxic EU. They saw a really good opportunity and started to take it, but Chap and Cole get taken out on the way down the hill, and Merc is trying to make it a full squad wipe. He wants the last one too. He's got no help, but he's going for it. Blitz, straight headies with the crouch spray. Merc making it look easy with the AUG. Takes down almost, that was a full squad wipe, right, Blitz? Oh my gosh, write it down. Write it down. That's going to be one of the plays of the tournament.
That was insane, Stento. I wish I had
Write
my
it
replay
down.
set up because that was a squad wipe with very little health. And actually,
Write it down.
I think it was Sly there, Stento, that almost had him dead on the initial spray. And then Merch just came back and eliminated the rest of the squad.
Some unbelievable plays from Torch there. First, Fizz started heating up, and then Merc said, hold up. I got to get a quick little squad wipe situation. I actually think he got 3 of those. I don't know what happened, Blitz, but I know I'm getting excited here.
Yeah, that was absolutely crazy. And with the AUG too, I mean, that obviously so powerful, but a weird weapon to use, and that was insane to see. And another team approaching Torch. This is TXC. So how many teams have been in this area, Stento? Torch
this is where we need to stay. This is where we need to stay. I'm taking a look at the map, and everything else is long range right now. So this is the most pertinent fight that's about to happen. I love the aggression from TXC here. We saw them pick up big kills in this early game here, but they're going to need to be careful. Merc and Kayomi have proven they can hold this as a 2-man. And I said 6 kills early game. They've already got 10.
Yeah, so TXC has 10, Torch has 9, 2v4 fight here. Circle continues to move to the east. They're just on the kind of cusp of the circle here on the west side. Shangdi's got to go for a revive. Tazy and Benjo trying to make it work from the ridge. Tazy gets hit.
Merc is so devastating.
Yeah, I don't know who to watch here.
He's got a nade. I think Merc, honestly, he's been putting on a show right now. He's gonna try to go. Oh my god,
Shangdi hit a nasty nade. We caught that, bounced off the wall.
Oh, what a good nade by Shangdi. It's just Kayomi now dealing with both Shangdi and Frozen down here in the compound. Does enough to get Shangdi down, but the third parties are going to push Kayomi away a little bit. Going to go back into the hot dog house for a quick heal, and it's going to be up to Benjo and Frozen to both deal with Kayomi and get their team member Shangdi up. It looks like they're going to each take care of one of those tasks.
Meanwhile, it looks like Winter Circle just had a skirmish with Code Red. Benjoy's waiting at the long building here. Wonder if they'll kind of stack this and try to go in and finish off Torch. Torch is just hard to kill, and Kayomi actually decides, I don't mind if it's 1v3. I'm going to go in and catch these guys off guard, but unfortunately it didn't work out in his favor right there. Quick movement from him, though, and he's going to go down to Shangdi.
I love that aggression from Kayomi. Just full send it. They're gonna get a 7th place appointment. 7th place placement point out of that. A little bit of a tongue twister there, doing numbers on me, but well done by Kayomi to get not only a couple kills but an extra placement point for his squad there. I'm kind of watching Winner Circle push up onto this Edge team here, Blitz.
Yeah, I was watching Edge, but they're just laying down, so not great visuals. Pole just caught Coltsy with his teammate here, and now the fire goes on to the other member of Edge as 2 of them at least are in that shed there. Ghost trying to rotate.
This is a really tough spot because now K7 has joined the fight from above. Qdex takes one of those Edge members down with some SLR headshots. So now it's up to Pammy and Prims to kind of get these revives off and deal with 2 teams. It's going to be a tall task. One of those thirsts comes out from Qdex right now, and it's still Ghost on the low side with the AUG. Takes down Pammy. There's plenty more to happen here. He's just got to be careful of not over peeking to bring the line of sight from K7 into play. He's actually trying to get some shots down through the smoke onto K7, who seems to be full sending down the hill, and it's a different third-party blitz. T1 Ruzi takes down Qdex as he started to send it down the hill.
Yeah, so Qdex goes down. He's always kind of the front man for K7, I feel like. And actually, Winter Circle lost one of their kills there on, or one of their knocks on Edge to K7. They have 6 kills to the name, though, so not bad so far here, especially if they come out victorious. But you're right, they have to be very careful. They get Prims there in the building. It's just 1 left. Ghost looks like he really wants to get this shed out.
They need to deal with this as soon as possible because K7 on the high side is still looking at them. So Ghost doing all he can. They're going to need just 1 clean throwable in the shack to deal with them, but it's not in the cards for them. They do take him down. It's going to be Kempi that takes down that final member of Edge out in 6th place. And now they got to turn their attention up to the north side and see what K7 has decided to do. Qdex is still knocked, and there's both Kiza and Anto hanging out on the top side still.
Yeah, Bueno here trying to go for the res. Kempe did the same, getting people back up. We're going to kind of back out here because we're blocked in the smoke. On the flip side, a lot of action here happening in TXC and RS. RS we saw early on we were watching them. We wanted to see them. They could make it further in here. TXC is actually doing a number on them right now. 3 members of RS down denial. Last one up kind of hanging in this bush here, trying to go for a throwable kill on the knock that they already have. Gets it on the Shang D, so it's just one left for TXC, and he's not in the area, but we'll see what happens to RS, how many members they can get up. We're going to quickly get back to winner circle.
Yeah, you bounced away from this fight, but K7 was able to get down the hill to QDex and get him up. QDex is now up, throws a nade and gets a knock onto WC. So we have a 3-on-3 situation here. Kempe is trying to kind of prevent the push from above while the rest of the team gets this revive off in the smoke. So you wonder if there was a little bit of a missed opportunity there, not thirsting QDex out. I don't know if they actually had a sight line on him or the ability to, but after winner circle dealt with Edge here, I'm kind of trying to figure out why they didn't make some moves off of that location.
And QDex just got the care package then, so we tapped in. It's an MK, and now they have kind of surrounded winner circle. They came to the right side here.
Watch this man's perspective. He's got the red dot on the MK. He takes down Paul. A quick reload. He's looking for more. Might be time to strap a scope on that thing, but he's going to do a little bit of a flank situation here, Blitz. He's already got 4 kills leading this Kinetic 7 squad, but he's pushing now onto the edge of blue, seeing what he can see. A little bit of smoke on the battlefield, still kind of thick for him, and unfortunately not going to be able to catch the 3 members. Bueno, Ghost, and Kempe have pushed down a little bit of a ridge, and he doesn't quite have an angle. Kizza's been kind of hanging out on the top side, providing a little bit of overcover throughout all of this.
It's amazing that nobody's pushed K7 from behind, but I think it's because Infernix there is like the last member left of T1. If they had a full team, they definitely would have came behind K7 here, and RS is too far south. So Kizza, you can see him being a little skeptical here of what's to his left side, but nobody's there. So K7 getting very lucky with their positioning there, that just no one's on that side to contest them at all, and they can just kind of focus on winner circle. Here we are, 5 teams left, Fave 7, 12 people alive as we just passed the 27-minute mark of game 3.
I'm locked into QDex's perspective for myself here, because he's got the red dot on the MK. I've got a good friend who likes that setup myself, so I love watching people rock with this as their short range gun. QDex not able to get anything there, but we're having a little bit of look over the top here. As you can see on the map, lots of sight lines onto each other here between RLX.
We got TXC in the left, RS on the south. Winner circle to the north. Circle's going to pop. I kind of want to zoom out here for a little bit just to see the map. Winner circle is still stuck on that west side. So we popped in to watch RS for 1 second. 3 members were knocked, Stento. They were able to get everybody up, and now they've eliminated Infernix in the middle. He was in this shed. They mollied it. So Infernix could be in a really great spot because Q7 in winner circle might whittle themselves down. What's really big here, though, is if RS plays to the top side, it'd be really smart if they sent 2 people top, kept 2 people center, did a 2-2 split here to kind of take over the circle. But they're sticking together. It could be because they're really trying to not flub this potential dub that they could pull off in game 3. I'm back into QDex. Looks like he's getting ready to make a move, looting this body. Throwables coming out towards winner circle.
Yeah, I love this perspective. As I said, I love this MK, and this fight has gone on a little longer than I thought it would. I thought we would have seen some knocks happen here. I don't know how Anto's nade hits himself, perhaps bounced off of something, another nade in midair. I didn't see what happened, but Anto drops it on himself, and QDex takes down almost 2 players, but it's actually Pickle gets the second one, and now it's just Kempe. Some good tags, but Kempe takes down QDex, so that's a big knock right there. The revive has gone off onto onto Anto, and Kizza is now trying to figure out if he can push into the smoke. A little bit of blind fire, not going to connect right now. As you can see, all sorts of throwables, and now RS has decided to fully push up the hill blitz. This is their time to take maybe their first chicken dinner of this tournament here. They've already got 5 kills, and they want the win.
They came in K7 eliminated there. Finally, RS pushing from behind. They caught Kempe down. And that's everybody from those 2 teams in a plot twist. But we kind of called it that them fighting could kind of, be the thorn in their side, and TXC frozen the last member left in a 4v1. In RS, we talked about it. We wanted to see them come in strong for this game, and they're most likely going to come out with this dub unless something crazy happens here.
Yeah, that happened quick. Yeah, it was a little bit of a stall for a while between K7 and Winner's Circle, and when the fight happened, RS jumped and pounced all over it at the right time, and they're gonna find that solo there. TXC also had a good game, sneaking his team into second after a bunch of kills, but that's gonna be the winner chicken dinner going out to the retired Sinners. I believe Spree was leading the way there with 5 kills. The team picked up a total of 9. TXC, wow, had a bunch of kills as well, 13 kills in a second place, and rounding out the top 3 is going to be Winner's Circle with 9 there, Blitz.
Oh, very nice, Stent. How's everybody doing today? Thank you guys for tuning in to the game so far. What's up? This is me, myself, Blitz5, and Stento here to my that way. Just finishing up game 3. I was really thinking there that Winner's Circle and K7 really spent too much time kind of peeking each other there and just knocking each other back and forth a little bit. Usually you see the top teams get really aggressive and send it, but I really think one of those teams wanted to come out with the dub, and that they were there for how long were we watching that fight? For quite some time.
Yes, several minutes to the point where I got distracted off of something else. So that was a very long little standoff there, and you wonder if Winner's Circle missed an opportunity when QDex was knocked to try to maybe push up that hill. I'm not sure if the opportunity was there, because it's very tough to, once they got the wipe onto edge there, to then make that push up the hill. And I don't really remember how good of a zone that was, but I think there was a little bit of an opportunity there to maybe fight into K7 a little harder, so that they didn't wait too long and then get third partied. But again, it's a little tough to say from the angles we were watching and stuff. For sure. But really good first win there for RS, picking up I forget exactly how many kills, but they're going to be happy to get on the board there and get their tournament really rolling.
Yeah, so let's take a quick look at the scoreboard before we get back to our intermission and set up the next game. We'll just see, again, this isn't going to take into consideration the last game that we just saw finish, but I want to see where RS was. Retired Sinners, they're in 12th place, and that's going to bring them up pretty far, so it'll be exciting to see how far they made it up, and they were able to capitalize on the situation that, again, the Winner's Circle and K7 put themselves in really close to each other, and honestly, they probably could have done it earlier, but it paid off waiting. But honestly, if K7 finished off Winner's Circle early, they might have been able to surround RS, so maybe something to think about for next time. But either way, GG's to them, and we'll see you guys back shortly for Game 4. All right, Stento and I are back for game 4 of the NA versus EU showdown. If you're still with us, thank you guys for hanging out. If you're just tuning in again, this is game 4 out of 5 for day 2 for EU. Over the next month, we're going to be streaming the regular season of this tournament on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. First, we're going to be doing EU because it is nighttime for EU right now. It is 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for me as we cast this event. And then we'll be back later tonight, 3 hours from now, to cast the NA edition of this. Eventually, we will eliminate the lower standing teams and have the top teams from both regions play against each other to battle it out for some great prize pools. So I just want to pull that up on the screen for people that might just be pulling in. Here's our $4,000 prize for the finals. We have $1,000 for the teams competing in the regular season. And here are the EU teams playing today. And again, we are on our second game of Miramar, fourth game of the day. Plane path going diagonal across Miramar. We just saw a crazy finish. RS coming in first place there. They're landing at Impala. Torch has won 2 of the games today. And I'm hoping to see another team enter the winning circle there. Maybe winner circle themselves. I'd like to see AE perform pretty well. Edge has been making it pretty close to the end as well. Same with the Toxic team. So we'll have to take a look and see who can survive in game 4 again and make it to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Plane path was from down there on prison, bottom left, to Campo Militar. So a pretty good range of the map available to drop on for most of these squads. We see one down on the South Island. That's a Toxic EU on the prison island down there. But Circle has popped, and El Azahar is going to be centered up. There are several teams that are in decent position already, but this is one of those zones that's going to be very interesting to see if people take airlifts and get into some of those high spots, because the junkyard area and El Azahar has some very good mountains. But enough chatter, we're going to see a little bit of a hot drop situation. We've already missed the kill and thirst. I believe Stickas or T1 picked that up with the Bison, and unfortunately just barely missed that going down.
Yeah, I was able to get over there just in time. We saw it looks like the enemy there didn't have a weapon. Neither does Vanstar there. So Stickas had a Bison. It was able to just pick him up as you were kind of talking there. We just caught it in time, but it wasn't too competitive because he didn't have a weapon there yet. Just I guess mislanding from RLX because T1 and TXC were in the area, so they might have got flexed out of their landing spot. TXC has to be pretty happy. Center zone here, they can move into Al-Azhar if they want to, or kind of to one of the sides. This is a tough circle because this road splits it down the center here, and I really dislike this circle center. One of my personal least favorites to play in because the whole area around Junkyard, El Azahar, the ridges can be nasty. It really comes down to sometimes the RNG of the circle. What side of the road are you on? So we'll see how people play. This could be a big factor for teams to hold on to the pickup right into the end of phase 4, Stento. That's the last time you can use it to help them kind of combat that issue with the circle flipping.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you mentioned this TXC team in great position. They've had a little bit of a slow start to their tournament. They were sitting in 10th place going into that last Miramar, but as we saw, they came in second with, I think, 13 kills. So that'll probably jump them up significantly in the leaderboard. And now they're looking to follow it up with a really good early position here in center zone.
Yeah, Euro right now is actually just rotated by T1 and will be heading kind of by TXC in the Golden Murado from Hacienda.
Yeah, it looks like Euro was just a 3-man for this game. And they've got a decent rotation ahead of them here. Actually, they're kind of already snuck their way into a decent spot. They just need to kind of figure out exactly where they're going to land.
Yeah, many teams on the south side starting their rotation. K7 left without QDex. And ZES is actually going to be rotating now on the street as QDex leaves. We'll see if they happen to run into each other here. ZES with a classic rotation off the road. Full squad here. I'm going to tap into their perspective and see if they have anybody kind of scoping out that way. I think Drippy just spotted the car from QDex. No, but Sal's not looking that way. How have they not seen this? Or maybe they don't want to see it. I don't know. They don't want to push this, potentially. And sometimes in FPP, you just don't see it.
Yeah, and this is just the worst spot to be on the back of a buggy, right, Blitz?
Yeah, but he's finally spotted, and you can tell there's only one person in that vehicle. I mean, why not? Whoa, the Murado taking some flips here.
You might need to give him a little bump. Come on.
Oh, they didn't trust it. They got out a little early there.
Yeah, where's the
Oh, now he's
trust?
stuck in the car, Stenta.
He can't
Got
get
fixed.
it.
He got fixed there. It looked like, dude, I really thought that for a second. You know, who knows what kind of glitches
PUBG moment
happen.
right there with
Yeah.
the car flipping, getting glitched into the car, but it almost cost them, but it didn't quite. That was just ridiculous. And as we mentioned a little earlier, this is a very interesting zone with the road going through this whole main kind of highway here all the way to El Ahazar. There's several compounds that are available, but it's more the terrain. It's so hilly. There's so many dips you can play that the rotations can kind of just get jumped on at any point here. And we're watching that right now. T1, who's been a little bit spread here, got a little bit too close to Winner's Circle, who started barking at these members of T1 who are going to just turn around and drive away. No point in trying to full send a compound this early.
Yeah, agreed. Trying to see what Code Red's gonna do here. They're also looking to have a big game. I mean, they've been playing pretty well. We just haven't seen them come out with any victories today yet, but obviously only one team can win. I'm not sure what just happened to Code Red. Did they just lose 2 members there? I think they did. They just lost 2 members to T1 on that rotation. Looks like RLX might have got a care package here. They did. Let's take a look. Not sure what they have.
Yeah, pretty interesting first phase here, Blitz. Some teams are centered up, but they've been kind of poking around, trying to get even better location. Like T1 pushed into Winner's Circle, got pushed back, and Code Red Gaming, unfortunately, caught out there as a 2-man, trying to, I think, pull up near where T1 was. So Spencer and the other member of Code Red Gaming are going to get a decent spot here as a 2-man, but for now, slowly but surely these teams are getting spots in center zone.
Just got jump scared here by RLX head pain. I'm spectating him to see what if he got the crate weapon, and he just started dancing a few times out of nowhere. I didn't know where that audio was coming from, but I don't know if he knows I'm spectating him somehow or just dancing for fun. But he's definitely having some fun on the battlegrounds, dancing around. And why we have a little bit of a lull. We have some teams about to fight, but well, actually, we can't skip this yet because KO is about to rotate right past T1 here, potentially. I don't want to step away, but I did hear word that the leaderboard's updated, so I wanted to see after that last game. I think we can switch really quickly here.
Let's do it.
Just to see the update after RS coming out with that win.
There you go. It jumped them into 6th. They were down there on the right side of the leaderboard, maybe 12th or 10th or something. I don't remember exactly where, but they've jumped right into 6th, right into one of those finals playoff positions. And right now, it's everyone still chasing Torch with 89 points. Winner's Circle, 76. Right behind them, Kinetic 7 with 75. 2 teams kicked out, and Kinetic 1 with 67 points. And as we just mentioned, Retired Sinners followed up by a couple other teams at 42, 44, and 38. And that's what you're trying to get into if you're in this EU section, is that top 8. So results may vary, and everyone above them are safe for now. And Nitrous Esports and everyone else on that right side of the leaderboard has some chasing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's obviously there's a long way to go still, so it's anybody's game, but really those last 3 spots are anybody's game because there's you know, the point system is still so close together. So that was great for RS to get that dub. They have to be super happy now to be in the top 8.
Yeah, and I didn't catch how we lost 2 of the Platinum 7 members here, but they did pick up 1 kill. That's Bonnie picking up the breadstick so far in this round. And right now they're just kind of hanging out, trying to figure out if there's a way to push in onto Nocino. I'm not exactly sure how many team members of Euro are in there or if that's just a solo. So we might have a little bit of a 2-on-1 situation here if they can kind of figure out exactly what's going on. Nocino's playing the backside of this building, trying to put down a little bit of shots, but the nades are going to come out here sooner than later. Blitz, Nocino's got to get out of that house and gets around backside. We've seen some impressive plays from Nocino recently, but Bonnie, I think Nocino unscoped there because he got the kill. I do that all the time. He thought he got a quick spray to get one and then turned to the second, but unfortunately didn't drop. Bonnie there who gets the kill. So GG's to Platinum 7, cleaning up the solo from Euro and putting a couple kills on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we keep seeing Euro with such a broken team. I feel like, you know, they could have maybe done better there with the whole squad. Obviously would have helped a lot, but that's the end of their game for right now. The circle just centered up on El Azarhar. It kind of was centered previously, but circle's kind of just going that way even more. KO's trying to get away. T1 has been a pain for everybody rotating on this west side. They've caused a lot of issues. They've already got a couple of knocks. We'll tap into their perspective. They're going to have to go now. They already have 3 kills. There's only been a handful of people eliminated so far, and they're going to get some shots onto NES as well.
It looks like Ruzi is taking a car. Look at this flank. Aggressive play by Ruzi to pull up in a better spot. It's just a bang bus here for Spirit, so he's got to jump out and make something happen. Rez has been knocked by a different party, but the ace is not going to get the job done over here for Ruzi.
Spirits just gets that kill with minimal sight lines there.
Yeah, and Spirits did a good job. He pulled up with the bang bus, kind of going slow up the hill, and Ruzi had played very aggressive, pulled up on that ridge to just get some shots down. And again, Ruzi just had the ace in his hand. That gun kind of just fails you sometimes with the red dot on it, I feel like.
Yeah, agreed there. And NES, where they stopped, was in a terrible spot. So many people in the area. KO Ben's now going for the flush and sees Kiss pulling up in the car, trying to res Ruzi. Gets that knock. So now T1 is in a really tough spot. They're going to lose 2 members here and have to bail. They were here for so long.
I don't think they're going to be able to get this res off. And what was going to be a res attempt there is shut down pretty quickly by the good shots. I believe that was Benzi taking Kiss right out of the car. So
yeah, now KO's going to be able to loot up. I wonder why Ruzi was there. I guess he was just trying to get some extra kill points and pull up on that separate crash that happened, but definitely kind of backfired.
Yeah, he tried to outflank the cars of like Nitrous Esports or whoever that was that just died here. So he pulled up there as they were driving around and was getting some shots on the cars, but then they just pulled up and kind of took the fight, and Ruzi got knocked. So it was like he was attempting to play aggressive and kind of watch that, but unfortunately kind of just got knocked there.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's so quickly you can get caught out there. We have a care package dropping. I think Torch called this in. It's an MK. We just saw Winter Circle Pole get eliminated on the outside of Alcantara. The rest of Winter Circle is in the other area of the city. Circle just went north. Popped.
Very, very crazy circle shifts here. Kind of drastically pulling El Ahazar to center and then drastically pulling north of that with this phase 3 shift here. It's going to put Full and the rest of Toxic EU in dead center. And I think we're going to see a lot of teams kind of fall into the city here, Blitz, or as kind of like a crash attempt, and then find their way out late. So I think that's going to be one of those situations where El Ahazar is going to be kind of a messy situation for most of these teams to come out of, but we're watching kind of on our map K7 and a couple other teams try to find their way around the city and onto this high side mountain. There's going to be room for a team or 2 up there, but it's going to be a little bit of a race between, I think, RS and K7 and these teams that are making these rotations right now.
Yeah, I'm going to tap into AE because they're watching RS right now rotate in, our team winners from last game. Keo trying to get a shot here with the can they get somebody on rotation? I think RS is kind of almost in the clear here.
Not quite.
As I say it, not quite. The 5.56 DMRs are just so good at distance. I feel like that makes it a lot easier this time, the MK instead of the Mini.
Oh, that's just devastating. Unfortunate for Denial. He's been a great player for them so far in this event through the first 9 games. But Retired Sinners are our winners from last game, just starting to get it going a little bit. But we're still on board with AE here, who just picked up one of those rotation kills and potentially holding out another team on edge here. I'm trying to figure out exactly what Zen King is looking at down the side there. That's a fully different team in ZES, I believe.
Yeah, they stopped. So they were right behind RS, but stopped at that compound. I don't think they're fully in yet, so they have to continue their journey. They're going to head back towards Alcantara. Zen King just lighting up some shots. Nothing really landing, though, with the barrel at that distance.
Yeah, and take a quick peek at your map blitz. The RS team went all the way around the edge of map, and they might actually get a package out of it, and they're going to be in some decent zone over there.
Yeah, they got a lot of empty space here for themselves, which is nice. Winner Circle, I think, just got crashed on by ZES. Buggy blows up. Mercurial is down. Ghost trying to get a molly here. Now is the time to push with this molly. If they can make something work, now is the time. Ghost down to low health, though. Gonna need to res. They need to get some good flanks going here. Let's see if ZES can make this work for themselves. Saul goes down. Drippy making his way in. He's the last one up. Gonna get the flush. And then gets Kempi there as well. Last member for Winner Circle. There's 2 left. I can't tell. I think this is a 1v1 here. Drippy backing off, only down to 18 health.
He has to take this fight, though. He's not going to have time to heal. Ghost is an aggressive player, and his team is bleeding out, so he's got to get that heal off and take this fight if he wants a
He
chance.
got the
to get
first
his
aid
team
off,
back
but
to
the
3.
stun was too much, and Ghost ends up with the last final 3 kills here. They're going to lose a member.
Yeah, honestly, a little bit of a dropped ball there, I think, from ZES. They got a knock, and they had a 4-on-2 push, I think it was at one point. But a very strong hold from Winner's Circle. I believe our second place team right now. And they pick up 4 kills because of it, just as a 2-man.
They were a little slow on that push. We're catching Torch now. More fighting. Fizz, who's been on it today. Really, this whole Torch team has been on it. We saw Merc with that crazy squad wipe. Luca's been killing it. Komen with really good throwables recently.
Yeah, some great individual and team plays coming out of Torch, and now it's coming at the hands of this Edge squad. 2 are down. Coltsy has been fulled, and Prims is down, and now it's just up to Coder and Pammy to kind of figure out where this Torch team is pushing. Luca is kind of wrapping around the low side with Fizz and Merc here.
Edge
and
decided to
kind of-
leave. They decided to leave, and they just crashed Toxic EU. Just 2 members, though, here. It's Coder and Pammy. Coder's going to go down quickly. Pammy's going to be the last one left. It's going to be probably too much here for Pammy, and they get eliminated by Toxic. They were ready there quickly. Off that crash, 3 members of Toxic remain at this compound.
Yeah, this is such an interesting circle. We have 9 teams alive with 29 players as we approach the 19-minute mark here. So lots of teams are comfortable, like Toxic EU and RMV. Even K7 and AE have got some good spots, as well as RS on the north. But shots are being traded out right now between Luca for Torch and Team 19 out there in the distance. That's going to be Winner's Circle as the 2-man trying to make their way up the hill right now. I have never used the 4X on the MK with that scope, but Luca making it look easy. Takes down Kempi on the run from long range.
Great shots from Luca. I was just watching him there with his sprays and shots. Really well done from Luca. Torch Fizz with quick SLR heady onto Sly. Torch is just on another level right now, Stento.
Yeah, they don't seem to be slowing down at all. And look at the spread. Everybody's eating breadsticks. Olive Garden for everyone tonight. Blitz, they got 4 kills, and it's going to everybody.
Yeah, it just seems like they have way more than 4, but they are finally getting to the action now, and they might be able to pick up way more kills here.
Well, what happened was I think they crashed the city originally, so they finally have come out of that city and slowly end game, as we talk about so often. They're 4 strong, and that's when they start to pick up the kills as they move as a unit through the edge, or sometimes again they're usually good center circles. So proving that they can do it from the edge right now with 4 kills, and we'll see if they can string together another end game situation as a 4-man here.
Torch has got a good push. They're going to catch Ghosts off guard here. And then if they get Ghosts, they could potentially roll downhill onto the rest of K7. I actually really like AE's position in this circle. K7 AE have 2 strong compounds in this zone.
Yeah, absolutely. K7 as well, as you mentioned, in a really good spot. Kind of got my eyes just watching the map, watching Torch on the south side, but we're seeing some knocks right now. That's Winter Circle going out in 9th place.
RS has just crashed here.
Hard onto AE.
PO's
One
down.
member has been down.
Zen King fighting for his teammate here. He's going to get shot from behind from Torch. Super unfortunate there for AE. They were just a little too split in when that crash came from RS.
Yeah, that's tough. The crash was just unfortunate. PO and Zen King are going to fall to that. And now Spree and Traits have a little bit of area to work with over here as a 2-man, but very quickly have found our way into the top 8 teams. Placement points for everyone now. And it's just a little bit of a waiting game now. If you take a look at your map from above, there's a little bit of space between most of these teams. KO Marco is kind of being held out, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get in from the edge of zone. But most of this interaction is long range right now.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of sticking with Torch because they have this top side. They have every team almost in their view. I just wonder that will they be able to move in from here because they have a strong K7 team holding that compound, right? Even if they do a smoke wall, it could be tough. So I'm just curious how they'll rotate out of the circle. I imagine this zone is going to continue north, Stento. I don't think it's going to stay up on this hill. So I think that's when we're going to see some big moves here.
Kicked out is out in 8th place. They were playing a pretty big spoiler up on a mountain, kind of watching RLX make their final rotation. And there you go. Final member for RLX is going to go out as well in your kill feed. Now down to our final 6 teams here, and continuing. Torch, Kayomi with a knock onto Chap. We have Luca as well, kind of watching the rest of K7 to the north. And now Torch is out of zone blitz. They have to make this push into zone, and it's a 4-man K7 waiting for him. We're about to see some fireworks pop off.
I'm really surprised QDex isn't watching up the hill at all. They're kind of QDex is just waiting in the corner of the building. I think he was trying to play spoiler and let somebody get in the building. He gets a lot of shots on Luca here. Trying to do an underhand nade out of the window potentially to finish off Luca, but he rotates around and dodges that.
Yeah, and now the rest of Torch is trying to join up and help. Kayomi on the top has got the 4x on the M4, but it's a nice nade from Gav that's going to start things off with this fight. Fizz has been knocked, and now a little bit of a tall task with Torch on the south side of zone, trying to find any little inch they can into this zone here. But Gav already proven he knows how to throw those nades, letting a couple other fly, as well as the rest of K7, just making it red zone here in Torch's general direction right now. Gav trying to see some peek through the window, as well as Anto. They've got all sorts of angles on this, and it's some great spray from the 4x barrel of Anto. Straight headshots onto Torch. Merc, who we've seen do some very impressive solo plays here in the end of our last Miramar game. But now it's just down to Kayomi and Luca, and all 4 of K7 comfortably still sitting in this compound in zone.
Yeah, that was a laser spray from that 4x barrel, kind of with not the best line of sights there, picking up Merc, which definitely was a big stop to that push here. Is it just Luca up for? No, it's Luca and Koyomi are still up. Koyomi's trying to make a rotation to the side here. I tapped into K7 because I wanted to see how they were defending this. Wonder if they'll get aggressive and try to get Luca out of this building. Luca gets Kizza with the MK. Now Gav knows he's definitely here, waiting on the side. Didn't get that peek shot, though. Gonna try a smoke. Bounced off the wall back at him. No more throwables for Gav. QDex going for that revive. Anto playing kind of the watchman here from the 2-story building.
Ooh, and that's a big knock from across the map. Sly takes down Kayomi. Lucas
Yeah,
still
wow.
causing
And then
problems.
Anto with the finish on Luke. I thought Anto got that first one on, and I was going to say, no way did he get that knock, but it came from Sly in a different area. Now Anto sees the fighting going on and is going to third-party AE here.
So
And look at
RMV's
this.
got to act quickly here, I think, Blitz. We kind of talk about it with teams like Torch, with teams like K7. When you have a chance to take some zone, you have to take it. And it looks like Hacker is realizing that, pushing up as far as he can to take some of the area away from K7. There is a 2-man for Toxic EU on the hill on the west side of the map as well. So this is probably RMV's game to lose. They made some really good plays while we were watching that Torch K7 fight to kind of wrap out here and clean up the AE side that was on this east side of the map. So RMV doing all they can to kind of set up for some final end game, taking some good angles onto K7, who again has a very tall task here with 2 members of TXEU on the backside. We're now on board with Swift. Seems to be a popular 4x M4 combination that we're seeing here today, and some impressive sprays coming out of some of these ARs of these guys. But for now, K7 kind of stuck in their compound with all focus on them.
Yeah, Sento. So I've seen the circle and variants of it many times. That's why I was kind of calling that Torch was in a bad spot, because normally the circle kind of tends to go north here. And so that's why I was saying any team where RMV is going to be in the best spot. This is where AE was originally before RS pulled up and kind of eliminated their chances and got third party. They were just there a little too early and too split. So I think RMV has the best spot here. As you mentioned, Sento, they've taken over a lot of the ridge here. I'm going to kind of get into an aerial view again, because I think it's just easier to see from this point. And K7 is kind of stuck because no matter where they go, they're going to get third partied here from EU and RMV.
I love this view that you've taken here. It shows what a nice ridge RMV kind of has to work with and spread amongst here. And it's just going to be such a tough task for K7 to get out of these buildings with the 2-man of Toxic EU fully focused. And of course, RMV's got the 4-man spread looking this way as well. I think RMV might be slightly interested in keeping the 2-man of Toxic EU up for now to try to keep K7 kind of pinned in this compound. But we're gonna have to wait and see. No knocks have come out in quite a while here. Kizza went to get that MK, but he's not gonna be able to get out of that location that Luca was holding. So Kizza's gonna pay for that one, not able to get through the smokes. Some good shots coming out of, I believe RMV there. I'm not sure.
Hacker shots there. Yeah, getting some good shots onto Gav. I think trying to go for this nade. If this goes in the window, it could be pretty big. Just misses about a half a foot off there. Super close.
Other side of the map, RMV Deco is really close to the 2-man for Toxic EU.
Yeah, you can tell he's antsy here. He's bouncing up and down. He's slamming that paddle button here, waiting for Swift and Sly to make a move. Takashi takes out Sly, though. Now the nade is coming in. I don't know if he cooked that enough, but it might have bounced off the dead tree. Second nade coming in. Swift, I think, just spotted Deco. He's down to half health. Deco can take this. He's also got the boost running. Swift didn't even see him, though. He got lost kind of in the sauce there. And now Q7 moving as a team together. What happened here? They left Hacker alone, and this is what good teams do, Sento. They group up. When you're cornered, when you're in a bad spot, strength in numbers. That's what the best teams do. K7 just did this, and they're flipping the script now. It's kind of taking this spot on RMV. I would say that RMV still has a better position because they have a little bit more of the ridge to work with, but can't honestly say for certain that's the case.
Yeah, once they got that first kill, they wrapped all the way back around towards the east side right now. Takashi on the other end of things has taken a really good spot to kind of hold these boys out of zone for K7. So he's just making sure they can't really get around the northeast side of the map. And again, he's done his job here and forced K7 back to the south side. They're going to try to keep wrapping this edge here. They're going to meet Hex here pretty soon. And it's just going to be too many members of K7 with eyes on that peak from Hex. So now we've got a 3-on-2. Takashi and Deco with a tall task of Gav, Anto, and QDex representing Kinetic 7 here.
Yeah, smokes are coming out. You know they're going to smoke and then try to make a game plan. Whether they all push together one side, that's what they'll do sometimes. They'll just all go one side after all the smokes are down. So, because they know RMV, their natural instinct here is to split, right? So sometimes the good teams will all go one direction again. They could do 2-1 push. They know Deco's at this building. It's got QDex and attention of multiple members here. This could be a good time for Takashi to go in the other way. QDex is kind of aware of it, is checking this way. Takashi moving up a little bit on the right side. Avoids the spray from QDex, but now there's 3 members pushing Takashi here. Takashi gets Anto. Good head fakes from Takashi. QDex and Gap don't have a lot to work with.
Really good job on that ridge. QDex can't get the shots to hit, and Takashi's taken 1 member down, and now Gab is going to go down as well, and Deco's wrapping this low side, but QDex handles him. It's now Takashi versus QDex Blitz. QDex has got more health. He just doesn't have a vest. He's going to make sure he confirms that kill. So is Takashi. Now we've got a good old-fashioned one-on-one. Both players are going to kind of wrap back away. Maybe a heal going off for Takashi. QDex with a big wrap around the north side, low side of this map. I haven't seen a heal go off for Takashi yet. There you go, in the smoke. And QDex again is making a very big flank here. Takashi's gonna need to recognize it soon. QDex with the spray, lands it as he so often does. Clutches up the chicken dinner for Kinetic 7. 10 kills to go with it, Blitz. No fries.
10-piece chicken nugget meal there from K7. GG's to them. They were in a tough spot trying to get out of that building. They did it successfully. RMV still have to be happy with that second place, even though I know they wanted that first, coming down with 8 total kills. Toxic EU in 3rd place with 4 kills for themselves as well. Let's bring it to the camera so we can talk about that game, because there's one thing I want to say, Stento, for sure, is that we had the aerial view going on. We saw RMV watching K7, and they had, who was it? Toxic on the other side. RMV just needed to stay where they were. They wrapped. I think it was Deco they took out Toxic. They didn't need to, though. They could have used Toxic, you know, to take out K7, and then it would have been 4-on-2. Instead, they left that position. I don't want to, you know, call them out, but I feel like they dropped the ball on that a little bit. K7's a great team, but I feel like if they just stayed put there, they could have got that dub. But obviously, hindsight's 2020. It's easier to say sitting here in the caster side for sure. But just had to bring that up because you're like, they were so close.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you in a sense. You thought, just from looking at it from our perspective, that RMV had full control of that and that there was no chance K7 was going to get out of the compound. It was kind of the choice of Toxic EU to wrap a little bit of away from that. And they found Deco down there, and the fight didn't even take that long. They got rid of the 2 members of Toxic EU pretty quick, but K7 was so timely, and I didn't exactly see what was going on the other side. We were watching Deco's low side perspective there, so I didn't exactly see you know, whose responsibility it was to keep focus on K7, but I think almost all of that RMV team focused Toxic EU really quickly, and it was just 1 second.
They just left Hacker by themselves on the other side.
Yeah, so I just think the focus needed to remain on K7 EU as a priority there. But it's tough to say because they were able to deal with Toxic EU so quickly. But it was just that split second that K7 needed to get out of the compound.
You're right. It's just a split second. And sometimes you just aren't prepared for that full team push, right? So many people split flank, all that stuff. And again, I'm actually rocking an old GT jersey. They kind of always did that in the PUBG console scene, going 4 strong on a push like that through a smoke, and it catches you off guard. So I can't say, you know, that it's completely their fault, because I wouldn't have been ready for that either. But in any case, GG's to all the teams there. K7 coming down with the dub. After another quick intermission, we'll be back with the final game for EU. So we'll be right back. GG's, everybody. welcome to the final game of the evening for UK of the NA, or I should say for EU, for the NA versus EU showdown. Again, this is day 2. We are here with a flight path coming from the military island all the way to Stalber, seeing another Eastern flight path, so we're most likely going to see another Eastern circle. It's honestly crazy, man. We need to like shuffle
we're heading
the
to
frickin'
power. We're heading to that same like island, like corner of the main island there, and we all know how it's gonna happen.
Yeah, we need to see like a complete shakeup here. I would love to see a Stalber circle, military base circle.
Bring it down low, yeah, or all the way up. If it's on the mid right side there, I'm gonna be sick, and I think a lot of these players are gonna be sick. There you go.
Wow.
There you go. I'm clapping over here. All right.
The craziest of all circles almost just crashed out of the game because I dropped my controller there. We got a military base circle, but could easily pop back to Ferry Pier over there, and these circles get absolutely crazy.
This is good stuff. What do you think right now, Blitz? Ending on the north side or ending on Military Island?
I'm going to say it ends all the way west Military Island here. I'm going to go military base. What about yourself?
I just want it to end military base, so I can't think of anything else. So I'm going to go military base with you as well.
Okay, you could easily pop back, but...
What's going to be interesting is like look at it. Didn't pull military base on the east side. It pulled to the west side, which was very unlikely just because the plane was kind of starting off on the right side of the map. As you can see, the plane path was like military base to Stalber. All of the teams are on the right half of the map. And that is just going to lead to just such a messy rotation, whether all of these teams kind of try to go for this bridge or hit up boats in the Ferry Pier area. I'm sure we're going to see some of these teams on the eastern coast take boats all the way around. They're going to be looting up gas cans and all of that fancy stuff. So these rotations are going to be ridiculous. I think we'll be pretty well served to keep a good eye on the map, to just kind of laugh about some of the way these teams are getting into zone, and definitely a good time to be finding an emergency airdrop.
Yeah, such a good point about the gas cans, because you're right. Teams really do. You don't really see this in even like ranked play. Teams will really go insane with those boat rotations and go so far out of the way to get in safely. You might even see some teams driving all the way through Georgia Pole, going on the very north side to just avoid everybody. Honestly, some teams might run into each other there. What's funny in these games, sometimes people go so far out of their way to rotate that they, if they just went straight, it would have been clear, and they end up, running into all these people who are driving on this crazy rotation path.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens.
Yeah, Edge is actually already sending a member over the bridge onto the military base, but now the rest of the team is going to have a hard time getting over because AE is kind of taking over this spot. I'm going to tap into AE's perspective because they might see Edge Pammy head over the bridge. Also, at some point, I'd love to bring up the scoreboard. We're having just a little bit of an issue refreshing that on our end. So if we can, we'll show you guys the current standings. And here we go. That car is traveling over now. Nada's going to peek over. Is anybody going to have a shot? Nada's going to start the shots. A little bit of blood coming down. Decent amount. We're going to switch over to Clifton, then to Zen King and Pio.
Was that some zoomed in 6x AK spray right there? Maybe it was the spectator glitch that often happens, but he was landing. Nada, I think, had the 6x on the MK, landing some good shots there. The rest of Edge going to be able to sneak their way over the bridge successfully. And I think AE needs to consider just holding this spot right now, Blitz, because they're hanging out just on the bridge, where a ton of teams are probably going to be not only potentially coming over the bridge, but boating underneath it or around the military island. So this is a really decent spot to maybe hold just for phase 1 or something.
Yeah, I really wonder if they are going to hold this or just try to go into the zone. Right now, Edge is continuing to move with P7 on the bottom side of the map. Edge might kind of run into the bottom to Bonnie over here with... They're on other sides of this ridge, so they don't think they're going to see each other just quite yet.
So many teams just have such ridiculous rotations. I'm still staring at so many teams up in the Stalber area as Naya, a couple of teams over in Lapovka. We're seeing Torch hop in a boat. I think maybe the same with Winner's Circle. In other teams, kind of just starting their rotation through the center of the map. ZES is approaching like this school shelter area. TXC has found their way into zone as well, just to the north side of the left bridge there. NES is kind of camping that left bridge. Nitrous Esports, I love that spot for them right now to potentially pick up some kills. Their focus is probably going to be on the north side as TXC begins to journey south towards zone here.
Yeah, it'd be really nice to see NES have a good game. T1, who I think we're probably hoping for a little bit of a better day because they were kind of stacked coming into day one, just took a pickup, it looks like, to land on this part of the island, which is going to be really safe for them. Ruzi, though, has been kind of getting caught up by himself. He over parachuted. I can't find him right here, and has now P7 below him. I wonder if they've spotted him out at all. I don't think they have. T1's actually in a really weird spot. They didn't take the building. Now Toxic EU's parachuting in Cento. T1 is taking such a long time to get down that Toxic is actually coming down as well in the same area.
Yeah, I'm worried for T1 at how spread they landed there. If Toxic EU lands nice and neat as a 4-man here, we might see some players get picked off here. I can see Infernix is close, but just like you, I didn't see how far away Uzi went, all the way up to the grandmas on top of the hill. There is going to be a good spot to have, but not as a solo there. He probably wants the rest of his team to come back, as I think someone's going to pull down towards Ruzi. But for now, Toxic EU has landed up on these rocks, and they're trading out shots with some of these T1 members.
Yeah, we have Sly landed by himself on the backside of the compound. He spotted Stickus and is going to shoot a lot of immediate blood, but not much damage there. Also, was Winter Circle just eliminated right there? I don't know where that happened, but Winter Circle was just eliminated. Was that by KO?
I think they're in a boat. I think it was KO, and it was a Lipovka boat shore situation, but we didn't see it. And that's one of our top teams there as well. So I think after a really decent start, putting themselves in like second or third after day one, Winter Circle, struggling a little bit here on day two. So they'll have to regroup for next week's action, as that is the last match of the day for EU or Winter Circle.
Yeah. So my pop-up screen here has having a little trouble working, but I really want to show you guys the standings right now. So I'm going to quickly tap over to the page, which has been being shared in the lobby. So if you guys are in the chat, so if you guys are curious why we're chatting on what the leaderboard is, Torch, currently in first place, Kinetic 7 in second, Winter Circle in third, but they were just taken out of that match. Kicked Out has moved up to fourth place, Kinetic down to fifth, RMV up 2 spots, RS down to seventh, and Ace topping out the top 8 here. Team Toxic and Code Red and NES right on the cusp there. So all those teams we can definitely be watching out for in this final game 5 with this amazing circle here down at the military base. Right now, whoever I'm spectating is actually in the water. This is the Toxic team still.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time before things really start to heat up here, Blitz. We're seeing a couple teams work their way through blue. There's still several teams, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams still in blue right now. So going to be a little bit of a slow round for a little bit here as we approach the 10-minute mark. We still have 16 teams alive with 61 players. And I'm not seeing any immediate fights breaking out as, again, as I mentioned, several teams just kind of journeying their way to zone, taking their time.
Yeah, look how many teams I just zoomed out are in the blue. RMV is fighting RLX super far away here. RLX is stuck at a stone.
I think someone got ripped out of a car. Oh, they're actually getting that res off. I didn't notice there was a second player there. It's going to be up to Vanstar to make something happen here. Unfortunately, I think he's going to be up against just too many different RMV players who are still 3 strong in this location. So unfortunate rotation for RLX there. And again, I think you kind of touched on this briefly, Blitz. Sometimes those very slow outer rotations just kind of lead you into another team, and you wonder why didn't we just kind of head the zone.
Yeah, exactly. Here in RLX, the two members are trying to get through chopsticks with the motorcycle, and if they go too far to the left, they could run into Code Red. Code Red might have just got a rogue care package here, potentially. They did. Spencer got a Groza. RLX is going to head to the left there, right. Circle just confirmed pretty early on, Sento. I wouldn't have imagined this early we got a confirmation that it's on the military base, but it did. TXC wasting no time to leave Ferry Pier, and we might see them make a push against Toxic. Somehow Toxic got this. Oh, they moved and got this smaller compound to the left here after moving on the shore. Now TXC is going to be in a tough spot here. They really didn't have anywhere to rotate to, though, because the shoreline's being watched. Toxic's in this crazy 2-2 split. They have this small compound, which is very hard to push on foot. And then they're also watching the shoreline and T1 from the left side.
Yeah, this isn't really a spot I think you want to be hanging out too long. And Shangdi might have just kind of opened a door for them to push on. And Frozen has taken that as his cue to push up at least to this bunker for now. And as you can see, the third parties are starting to ring out as the shots landing kind of all around. I think that's T1 and maybe some shooters from the bridge as well. So he's going to need to go prone in this location. They're not going to be able to get close enough to this compound to really push Toxic EU. It is important to know that Toxic EU is only a 2-man there. So if this is done properly, if Toxic in the yellow here can make a 4-man push onto the compound, it is going to be only 4 members for Team 4 waiting for them in there.
Yeah, I think Toxic Sly here is in a kind of a risky spot with this split. It's just going to take another knock like that to cause some problems for them.
I'm looking at my map, and Code Red Gaming has just taken another airlift in. I love the airlifts for these zones. I bet everyone, when they see a military base zone, they say, hey, we got to try to get an airlift or two at this point, because
oh yeah, fighting going on the bottom side. P7 RS pulled up on the beach below them. I thought we were gonna see more though, but it looks like RS is really split out, so we'll pay attention. RS is so split up that Code Red might drop on them here, Stento. The 1-member Spree is at this building. Man. He just left the building to see Spencer. He actually gets Spencer down. Now Ollie's turn to try to make a comeback here. Can't get in through these windows, so he's kind of left not able to do anything, but the trade comes out from Cocky, takes out Spree. Now RS can't really get there in time, though. They're on the beach.
Yeah, Spree's been taken down by the long-range members for Code Red Gaming there. Ollie was a little bit closer, throws the smokes onto his teammate, and they're going to be able to get the res onto Spencer. Traves here with the barrel in his hand, trying some red dot spray. Doesn't connect with anything on the first try or two, so he has another go. Really just holding down some suppressive fire onto RS here. Retired Cinder's now going to be kind of pushed back onto this shoreline here, as a timely drop from Code Red Gaming is going to put a kill on the board for them and give them a decent spot in zone as well here, Blitz.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually going to switch back to Toxic. The 2 members left that hill. They had that big rock, and Chap is down in the water. One of the newer features, you can stay knocked in the water now and continue to swim. Swift is on this other side. The other members were in that compound, but I think one of them, Sly, went down. Swift not able to take out Benjo there. Excuse me.
Yeah, unfortunate here for Toxic EU. They had this 2-2 split for a while, and it kind of just broke down for them from some unfortunate battles here, and it was mainly the other Toxic Esports team on this shoreline that did a lot of the damage. So a slower day in match 2 day for our blue team Toxic EU there, but they still have full alive on the edge of zone.
Yeah, they still have exactly Foles on that edge in that building. NES is above them. Looks like they just got a care package. Will they push in? Kind of risky to push in. They still got 4 strong. It's risky to push into that compound because leaving it can be very difficult. I don't think they grabbed that care package unless it was already taken. Oh, we just caught Spirits. I was switching off. I'm sorry, everybody. As I switched to him and was switching away, he got
He just hit
Dude,
another
Outbody's
shot.
got another
right?
shot at the hacker there.
What? This is the best sniper in the world. What did we just tune into?
Back-to-back boat shots there. Now the nade. I think that's
Because
going to
we
be a
have
little
the
short.
Kobe skills. It's actually going to be a long range shot from Frozen that takes the kill there from NES. And Spirits needs to be careful here because T1 from long range actually is going to take him down. That Stikas from super far away with an MK12 here. And now it's just so many teams from long range, kind of an interesting dynamic to this fight. T1, ZES, TXC, and TXEU. NES, RMV, this is like 4, 5, 6 teams all in this northwest area, Blitz, so it's kind of turning a little messy.
Yeah, this is normally where it does get messy because all the stragglers that couldn't get over in time are kind of in this area. So it looks like there was a 7.62 crate weapon, but this team doesn't have it, so they were just looting what was left on that box. It looks like TXC making their push into full. We'll tap into full's perspective, trying to stop this push. He got a nade kill onto Benjor, knock at least. Another nade goes out, trying to get this flush Molotov to follow. Looking left, sees two guys, can't get the double kill here. Oh, gets one of them, but the trade comes down quickly.
Wow, they almost lined up for him there. I know Full, been a good friend for a long time, an amazing shooter, so definitely someone you got to show some respect even with a 4v1 push, and he does get one of those kills, almost gets a second and a third there. And NES and T1 have just been kind of long range third partying this the entire time, giving these guys no rest at all. And it's Kiss GG with a knock onto two different members there as the revive went off. I think he timed it so that he had to shoot the revive once there, Blitz, and then was able to get the second player as well. That was beautifully done.
Yeah, really great timing from T1 there. They're going to pick up 2 more points. They have 7 kills now, kind of quietly over here on this corner of the map. And I was going to say TXC, not a bad loss there, just getting in with, losing 1 member, taking that compound, but now they've lost 3 and really leaving that compound with 1 member is going to be really tough without a vehicle. So it might be game over for TXC there.
Yeah, it's interesting how some of these teams pile up 6, 7 kills when we hardly even notice, them really getting into anything. So some impressive work from Kinetic 1, starting to kind of pick up where they left off yesterday in the final game of today as well. But that's going to be Frozen going down in 12th place. TXC is not able to get off of that compound there. And I believe they're just outside our top 8, so they're going to need a rally for next week.
Yeah, for sure. This, again, is the last day for the first week for EU. We're going to be doing 2 days of EU, 3 days of NA. So tomorrow will be just NA at night. If you're just tuning in, this is game 5 of the NA versus EU showdown. Now we got a fight, skirmisher between T1 and NES. NES just outside, I think, the top 8 Stento. So we've been waiting for them to have a good game. They have 5 kills to the name. Spirits, they lost in that previous skirmish. Good nade from Slayers here that might hit on that tree. It does not.
Yeah, Slayers really letting them fly. Those grenades don't unfortunately connect on anything. Right now, Slayers get a nice challenge onto Ruzi. Knock thirsts him almost instantly, and now what seemed to be a good push from Kinetic 1 onto a slightly crippled Nitrous Esports team has come back to bite them. They've lost 2 players now, 3 players. It's just Invernix now here, and unfortunately, what was a really hot start to a round for T1 is likely going to come to an end here.
Yeah, NES playing really kind of passive here, just waiting. I think it's smart, though, for them to play passive here because they don't need to move. Little do they know, P7's also here. They got to get this revive off. Will P7 eclipse this hill and catch this revive? I think NES played that well. They have the north side of zone. Torch, I thought they were taking a late game shoot, but it looks like they were just in a car there. I'm going to pull up the menu and see. They crashed the bottom side. P7's actually getting pinged from Code Red. NES is not aware.
If you do pull up your map, I know we just watched T1 get eliminated, but I remember earlier in the game, if you look at that center compound, the Granny's building on top of that hill,
that's where
Ruzi was up there as a solo, and unfortunately he went down to his team rather than the other way, and I bet they're kind of talking about that right now. But NES Task opens things up with another knock onto No Mercy, and it's just Ivix's here. 4P9 with 3 members of NES kind of getting different angles on him here.
Yes, Slayer with another big nade. And great point there from T1. I mean, I think they wanted to get out and get some points, but they probably could have used a nice kind of slower game there. And nobody's even at that grandma house, so that was just a great point to bring that up and reference that. Prolific here, trying to get that AK spray. Haven't been seeing as many AKs in the EU. We saw a lot of AK use in NA. Gets that knock. And is that the last member of P7?
Yeah,
that
Platinum
was.
7 is going to go out here in 7th place, true to their name. And Nitrous Esports having a great final match of the game here, of the day here, excuse me, on Orangle with 9 kills so far, still 3 strong. So keep an eye on the north side of zone. These guys are sitting in a pretty good spot as well.
Yeah, we just tapped into KO. Ben's here. Almost had Spencer knocked. I can't believe he didn't finish that off. He kind of moved away with the mini. I think he thought he killed Spencer there. 2 members of KO. That was really their opportunity to get that knock and maybe make a push. They're going to be really stuck here on the bottom side of this map. This is such a tough area to play around the outside of the grandma house on this hill, Stento. If you're on the bottom side here, just
Yeah,
not easy to
absolutely.
play.
And unfortunately, they almost got the knock onto Spencer, who has a Groza, and they weren't able to get that job done. And Ollie has made a pretty big flank to try to engage them on the same side of the road as them. The rest of the squad for Code Red Gaming is back across the street, and it's some impressive shots from downtown from Benz with the AUG, taking down Ollie. So now it's up to Cocky and the rest of Code Red Gaming to get across the street, see if they can get rid of this 2-man here and get their boy Ollie back on his feet before the edge of zone. Benz goes down to some good M4 spray from Traves here. So now it's up to Chris coming out of the edge of the smoke here. He's got a lot of focus on him here. He's gonna have a tall task with the shots coming out of Code Red Gaming. They're gonna get that kill. Still undetermined whether they're gonna get the res off. They do get the res off onto Ollie, so he's got to get that first aid off quickly. Spencer has already located the next threat. It's gonna be our first place team, as they often are, 4 deep. Torch Gaming pushing from the south side of zone here.
Yeah, I thought that would have been a good time for Torch to push Code Red while they were fighting that, but they stayed low. Looks like they are looking towards edge. Maybe they want to go that way instead. We just lost a member of NES who kind of had the top side to themselves. K7 moving into a 2-2 split. I'm in the map so you guys can see where people have their spots on this circle. Really here, it's going to be a pretty big open circle. K7 might be in the big spot here. We're actually missing some action, so I'll stay tuned to Spencer and the rest of Code Red fighting with Torch. Trav's getting revived.
Yeah, they're going for the revive off here onto Traves. Luca throwing some grenades long range for Torch. So Torch simultaneously fighting off edge, coming from the backside as they try to put some damage down onto Code Red Gaming, and doing a heck of a job. They have 4 kills here, and they're still 4 strong. As we get into our a lot of 4s here, final 4 teams.
Interesting.
Endgame is just a very interesting circle here. It's wide open in the center. It's tough zone to play. So I think we're going to see some big team fights break out here on the south side of zone between Code Red Gaming and Torch. And I think K7 is just going to wait for that to happen and pick a good time to third party this.
Luca with a great mini shot, and then Merc getting Travs again. Merc has been on fire today, and Torch might push on this now. Luca's coming this way. I think they're calling him over. Fizz is on the push right now. He's got one more lethal. The stun came out. You would imagine he'd throw that nade at the tree. I can't believe he didn't throw this nade yet. He pushes up and gets Spencer. Great push. Cocky and Ali are back at the next ridge. He's going to go down and heal. If Torch can take this and stay 4 strong, they're going to have this little lip by Grandma's house still, and might be able to contest against K7, who's got probably the best position because they're still in with their compound.
Yeah, Torch is just a little more tightly compact in this fight. A couple of the members of Code Red Gaming are a little bit more up the hill, closer to Granny's house on that dirt road. And unfortunately, I think that was kind of the X factor in this fight, that Torch kind of had a little bit of a hill to work up with, and they were just kind of closer together. So the spread not really working in the favor of Code Red Gaming there. And on the other side of the map, we just watched Kizza with the M249 take down the final 2 members of Nitrous Esports. So we're down to our final 3 teams here. A 3-man for K7, a 3-man for Torch, and a 2-man for Code Red Gaming. This is going to be a very hotly contested final game here, and I think it's all about who is going to engage who at what point here, Blitz, and then the third party is going to happen, right? That's some good long range shots from Kayomi, opening things up with a knock on to Kaki. I think they're taking that as their cue to push up onto this.
K7's doing the same exact thing. I'm going to tap into an aerial perspective behind Code Red because they have both teams pushing up the hill simultaneously. Torch is about to run right into QDex. Gav actually gets him first. I'm going to tap into QDex's perspective. 2 members of Torch down. There's just 1 left for Komi. He actually gets Cocky there. So they're fighting kind of the wrong fight because they need to be focused on QDex. And QDex looks like he's almost about to finish off Komi. He's going for the pan. Throw for the last kill, and he gets it to finish off the game.
No shot. That was such an awesome ending there. And that Shack playing a big kind of factor in that. Torch was trying to push up there, but they were rezzing in that Shack, so the nades, all the mollies not really landing, so they couldn't clean up that 2-man of Code Red Gaming quick enough. And a well-timed push there from Kinetic 7, picking up the final chicken dinner of the day with 7 kills there, Blitz.
Yeah, they had a slower game there, but they came in right at the right time. Torch, got to be happy with that. I think they took 2 games today, right, Sento? So two dubs and a second place is great for them. They end up with 7 total kills, if I did my math right there. I think 8 actually. And then Code Red in third place. They have to be pretty happy with that as well, with 6 total kills. So let's bring it to a little intermission screen before we end today's fun on the battlegrounds. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you guys for tuning in to the event. Again, this is for EU, and then we'll be back in a few hours at 8 p.m. Eastern for the NA event. But really interesting there with K7, like I was kind of alluding to. Pretty slow game for them. Didn't hear too much from them. They came up at the same time as Torch. Was awesome seeing them both run up. They just happened to catch Torch a little earlier. And then we saw the last member of Torch get kind of shot up there. So it was an easy kind of pan ending 3v1. You knew that wasn't really going to end well. So that was a fun way to end the last match of the day for EU.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the kind of the talk of the day was Torch. They had a lot of consistency. They won a couple games. We spoke a number of times about how they're able to keep 4 deep in end game. And, you know, it might not result in a lot of kills early on, but they're often able to find their way to like 10-12 kills because they're 4 strong in the end, and picking up those chicken dinners. It really adds up for them quick. And I think at the end of today, we'll see them comfortably sitting on top of the leaderboard. But there's several teams that are still very close behind, Kinetic 7 and a few others.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up the leaderboard now.
Today. Yep.
Not to interrupt you, I just want to show people that are watching, have a little bit of an issue here, so we're going to just switch to the screen in front of us here so you guys can see that Torch was the #1 team going into that game by only 3 points. So with K7 coming in first, they might be able to just pass them there with the placement points. Winner Circle was out early, so they're going to drop even further. KO was kind of sticking in there for a while. Same thing with T1. So definitely curious to see. Obviously it takes a little while until we get the stats to update, so we'll just have to wait on that. And you know, we'll keep sharing all the links and information when we can. Obviously, people have been sharing in chat. I want to say thank you to the moderators and people also part of Main Gaming who have been helping us out behind the scenes and kind of sharing some of that information. And we'll continue to do so on social media and keep you guys informed. So thanks again. And Sento, anything else you want to share with everybody?
No, as always, just a massive shout out to everyone who tunes into the events. We appreciate you very much. I think we got it going a little bit smoother today, and we're going to just continue to try to improve it and add new features and different styles of content into this. So again, thank you so much for watching. Big shout out to all the players as always, and the teams who are joining and out here giving us just some of these insane plays. It's so much fun, honestly, just to be here to watch. So thank you to everyone. We're very appreciative. And we're going to be back here in just under 2 hours at 8 p.m. Eastern watching, I believe, groups A and C for the North American section. 24 teams in North America battling it out for the top 9 spots. We're actually going to have a 17-team final, 9 teams from NA, and 8 from EU when it's all said and done. So thank you to everyone. Massive shout out to Blitz for all the amazing work that you're doing with production and everything. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, guys. So make sure you're big shout out to everyone else on the main gaming squad doing things silently behind the scenes. We're very grateful for such an amazing squad. And yeah, that's it for us here, guys. We'll be back 8 p.m. sharp with the NA section. That does it for us, Blitz.
Yep. GG's, everybody. See you guys soon. We'll see you hopefully later on. And take care, everybody. GG's.